Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello, Libations Friday edition of the program. I'm Jeff, that's Tom, and we are online, ESPNTallahassee.com. Loosey-goosey. Email the show if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow, WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. Hello, YouTubers, good to see you. Hello, Periscopers, same to you. Number 4 seed Florida State, 26-6. Got a good ring to it, doesn't it? 26-6. 13-5 in the ACC during the regular season campaign, taking on number 1 Virginia. 29-2, 16-2 in the ACC. That has a better ring to it. But in the ACC tournament semifinals, you know, the beauty of that double bye is win one and you're in the semis. I see you rolled your way into the semis, man. 7 o'clock at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Will be televised, of course, on ESPN. Good times.
Where can you find it on the radio dial?
97.9 ESPN Radio, this station, this one right here. In the 28 seasons that FSU has been a member of the ACC, just our 5th appearance, guys, in the ACC semifinals.
5th.
That's nice.
Couldn't hit the high note today.
5th.
It's the pollen. There's no way.
It's tough, yeah. 92, we were the number 2 seed. We lost to the number 3 seed, North Carolina, 80-76. In 2009, we were the number 4 seed. We beat the number 1 seed, North Carolina, 73-70. Tony Douglas with 27 points, but we did fall to the number 3 seed, Duke, in the finals, 79-69. 2012, we were the number 3 seed. We beat number 2 seed, Duke, 62-59. And then went on to defeat number 1 seed North Carolina 85-82 for the ACC tournament title championship. 2017, we were the number 2 seed. We lost to the number 3 seed Notre Dame 77-73. Dwayne Bacon gave us his best, 18 points. It wasn't enough. So I will say this, if you go back and look at all these games, very close games, very compelling contests. Don't know that they portend of one tonight. Could. Virginia really has been very good since Tony Bennett arrived. He turned that program into a power starting about 6 years ago. Since 2013, 2014, Tony has compiled a 172-35 record, including 89-18 in ACC play. Four first-place ACC regular season finishes, 2 ACC tournament titles. This could be a third. And you know what? It's a doff of the cap. It's impressive. Virginia only has a 25 wins to 24 losses lead in the all-time series against us. It's been an even series.
It's been neck and neck for 5 or 6 years like that.
But they've been really good these last few years, that's for sure. They've beaten us 7 of the last 9 meetings, and 65-52. And that really doesn't speak to the game. It was more lopsided than that. We trailed at one point by 27 points, and he emptied his bench earlier this year, and we went on a crazy run, and that allowed us to make it look a little bit better in the box score. But it was an ass-kicking, and we both know that.
Yes, it was, and if it's not going to be an ass-kicking tonight, then we need to get within, I'd say, 3-4 minutes of half with it still being within reach. Because remember, the way that started earlier this season was we looked okay for the first 5-6 minutes of the game, and I don't think it was until about the 10-minute mark that's when Kyle Guy, who's only a junior, I'll say that right now, only a junior.
Jesus.
We need to hold him. Here's the key to the game right out the gate. 40% or under from 3, because that sounds ridiculous. Like, well, 40% is awesome. No, Kyle Guy can go 6 of 8, 7 of 10 without breaking a sweat. So if you can get him to 40% or under, all right, good job, Knowles.
You know, it's one of those situations, Tom, where if he comes out and hits a couple, you might stumble on the closeout the next time on that third rise up. I'm just saying it can happen. It can. I mean, sometimes the courts are slippery. Sometimes in your effort, in your zeal to get out and defend, you might lose your balance. And it's a shame when it happens, but we do see it sometimes. And occasionally, shoulders ends up they end up in the groin.
Well, I
of
mean,
an opposing player.
just look at a guy like Raekwon Gray. I mean, it's amazing he keeps the balance that he does as much as he does on the court. But if he were to stumble, who would blame him? I mean, he needs to hit the sand pits in the offseason.
In particular, if Guy were to rise up from, say, a baseline three where there's not a lot of give, if he were to close out in that situation and really lose control and momentum and just plow through Guy into the bench area.
That's a heavy T-shirt he's wearing underneath.
And, if he were to fall on top of him with his elbow coming down on a cheekbone or something, it could be devastating for Kyle Guy.
That would be. That could be. That would be.
I would hate to see that. But these things can happen.
That's the kind of thing that can happen in a basketball game.
It can, especially if you hit your first 2 threes and maybe the third's a heat check. Check into the boards, indeed. It could very well happen. I'm just saying. The ACC semifinals, again, a nice place to arrive. We've only played Virginia twice before in the ACC tournament, 2014, 2015. Virginia, top-seeded, beat us when we were the 9th seed in Greensboro in the second round, 64-51. Okara White had 17 points in that game to no avail. And then we lost to them again in 2015, 58-44, XRM with 13 points. That is them squeezing the life out of you. 51 and 44 points, respectively.
Yeah, they don't play the most televisable, if that's a word, brand of basketball. It's not people are going to be tuning in around 9 o'clock tonight, buddy. They're not going to be tuning in at 7 o'clock, and that's okay. As long as we win, if we shock the world with our semifinal victory, that's fine. I don't care how many viewers around America check in on Virginia, Florida State basketball.
No, me neither.
And it's not our fault. It's their fault.
I want to note something here because we've been looking at these numbers all year long, and I really am somewhat perplexed. FSU's net ranking is that of 19. It's a good ranking.
Still?
Yeah. And we have 2 bad losses, duly noted. One was the free throw festival against Pitt, which, whatever. They are at 120th. That's why it hurts us. Boston College, we lost. Kofor sat out that game. Both games featured Florida State injury-riddled, and then the first against Pitt screwed by the officials. We didn't play well. But that said, BC's at 135th. So you could say those are 2 ugly setbacks. But, again, you had 3 starters that were dealing with injuries, one that sat out the entire game. But our other 4 losses on the season are to Virginia, a buzzer beater against Duke, at North Carolina, and number 25 Villanova, who's the best team in that league. So your losses are, again, basically outside of that anomaly, which quite clearly the rest of the schedule proves to be true. Those games are anomalies. Anybody in a committee would look at that and go, well, that's clearly not who they were. They were dealing with something here because you look at the rest of the resume, the only time they get beat is when they're playing Virginia, Duke, North Carolina, or Villanova. You throw in the wins, against Louisville and Virginia Tech and LSU and Purdue and on down the list.
And Virginia Tech.
And well, I guess for these purposes, since they still have them going to the tournament, Florida, lopsided as that was.
Oh, get you some.
Terribly lopsided. But, again, so that's a really impressive resume. Again, we beat Virginia Tech in a pair of overtime games, beat Purdue at home, beat LSU in overtime on a neutral court, got another win in overtime against Louisville, destroyed the University of Florida, beat NC State, swept Clemson, routed Syracuse in the Carrier Dome. I mean, fellas have done some things. FSU is 10-4 against the net top 50. What do you say you're doing here? Well, kicking ass against really well thought of programs and teams this year. If you're 10-4 against the top 50, using the quadrant system, quad 1 wins or home wins over the top 30 opponents, neutral site wins over top 50 opponent, road wins over top 75's opponent. Remember we did this last year. We talked about it. FSU is 7-4 in quad 1 games. Virginia Tech, by the way, in those same quad 1 games, since everybody's in love with Virginia Tech, 4-8. So,
including the net system, I'm assuming.
Probably.
They ahead of us again?
I didn't double check them. I just looked us. So I don't really care about
damn net rankings.
Yeah. So, I would think the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee will look favorably upon us when you get the body of work and put us as a 4 seed in one of the regions.
They're 11th.
of course.
That's
Each time they play us and lose, it does them well. Yeah. That pod system, by the way, has been in effect since 2002. So if we're a top 4 seed, there's a real good chance, folks, that we'll be in Jacksonville on March the 21st and Saturday, March the 23rd, per the selection committee's own criteria, by the way. Tom, that criteria, reads as follows. Teams will remain in or as close to their areas of natural interest as possible. A team moved out of its natural area will be placed in the next closest region to the extent possible. If 2 teams from the same natural region are in contention for the same bracket position, the team ranked higher in the seed shall remain in the region, the natural region. So that should be us.
Well, the news there, though, that's interesting. So the Jacksonville Regional is being sold for Thursday, Saturday. Because the question, once you get the seeding and you're placing the bracket on Sunday, which you can hear right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Selection Sunday coverage beginning at 6 p.m., is, okay, when and where do we play? And what time of the day do we play as well? So
prime time.
If it's Jacksonville, though, we hear that we're in that place and then TV's still working on it, right? Then it's a Thursday, Saturday. Because they can't sell tickets and say, we'll see you Thursday or Friday, for the first round. That would be beneficial. I like playing the first day of the tournament. I don't like waiting till Friday night.
I don't either. It bothers me as well. Almost as much as Lenardi's wig on display again last night. Did you see that thing? It's getting better. It's growing darker. I didn't know that was possible.
It's got legs coming out the
side of it. It's a crazy thing. It's a hairy tarantula. It is frightening to look at. They keep doing him a disservice. Now, you can't make Joe Lenardi anything close to Brad Pitt, let's say. In fact, Joe Lenardi exists because Brad Pitt exists. But when the camera shot happens, you don't have to go straight underneath the quadruple chin into the area in which you can see the fakeness of the hair. Let's just do Joe better than that. I would demand it if I were him. They have that poor bastard on after every game. Every single game of any tournament, they're like, let's go to our own Joe Lenardi. And usually he's like at a flower shop or up against some wall. I'm worried he's about to be assassinated or something. It's bizarre. He always looks like he's being held captive in some back room somewhere, and he's miserable, probably thinking about food.
There is only one true God, and instead of...
He's holding up the date of the USA Today. I mean, every time I see it, I'm like, well, Joe, what are they doing to you, man? The 8 sides for the first 2 full rounds of play are Jacksonville, Columbia, South Carolina, crappy place, Hartford, Connecticut, Columbus, Ohio, Tulsa. Oof. Did they just sit down and say, hey, listen, guys, here's what we're going to do. Think of crappy cities all around this great country. I'm going to go with Tulsa. Good. Write it down. Anybody else? Columbia, South Carolina. I like it. Des Moines. Sounds good. Let's throw in a racist place. Salt Lake City. Sounds good. San Jose. San Jose's nice, Bob. I don't know if we need to go to San Jose. It's actually pretty nice. But anyhow, those are the sites. Those are the places. I'm like, what are we doing? We can't go Las Vegas, Nevada, Chicago, New York City, Atlanta, Miami, Los Angeles. Why we got, hey, stick them in the middle of nowhere in places that suck.
And suck them.
Jeff Cameron, Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
And madness.
And another one is done. Xavier knocked out by Florida State.
That much has to offer. The NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you in part by Whitten Glass, Pockets Pool and Pub, and by Truck and Car Concepts.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Yes, yes, yes. That is right, good sir. Baseball is upon us.
Hey, man, what are you having?
An El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Going all in on the Gordos in honor of baseball, my good friend.
Get me an El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Those are the reasons you always come back.
You were all in on that singing.
And I dance, too.
No, not necessary.
Watch. All right.
Off the bar, Eddie.
No, watch.
And the tapping?
Oh.
Sweet Jesus, Eddie, are you all right?
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Gordos, where Eddie will dance on the bar. In baseball. Yay, baseball. In Gordos.
Looking for a new place to watch your favorite sporting events? Hobbit American Grill with 3 locations to choose from. Just show them your stub. That's right, your ticket stub from any local sporting event for $1 pints and $3 crafts. BOGO Mondays every Monday with 50% off specials. Like or follow on Facebook to get all the details. PS4 tourneys, trivia, karaoke, darts, and more. Lots of daily lunch specials under $8. Happy hour specials daily and happy hour all day on Friday. The Hobbit American Grill.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
You have to be up in 5 hours. 2 hours. 6 minutes, and you haven't slept a wink. ZzzQuil Pure Z's is a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake with no next-day grogginess. So tonight, try new ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
So really quickly, before I get into the topic at hand, a reminder to go sign up for my for Orange Theory Fitness here in Tallahassee. They work wonders. This is cool. You know, I like to talk about Orange Theory because I'm engaged in it, and we're doing business together. And I like supporting the people that support us. But I will tell you that I've I could do the usual. I can tell you about the state-of-the-art equipment. I can tell you about how much weight I've lost. In a very short period of time. I've only been doing it a couple weeks, and I'm down 6 pounds. And that's pretty cool. I mean, that part's cool. But a lot of things can do that. I think the point here is that I really like it. But moreover, So I'm posting every now and then, either on Twitter or Instagram after my workout, just to show you I'm going. I said I'd take the journey together. We're taking the journey together. And people respond immediately. For example, I pulled this up now. The first response I got this morning on Instagram was from somebody. I don't want to give their name out, but they wrote, JC, I'm doing Orange Theory Fitness here in Palm Beach. I've dropped 30 pounds as of this morning since January the 1st. Keep going, man. It works. That's pretty cool.
30 pounds since January 1.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight.
Good gracious.
Yeah. And then you can see, and I'll show you guys there, I'm looking at my phone right now just because our former coworker, a friend of ours, Alex, saw the post, and she's off to Ireland. I'm jealous of her, by the way, but she immediately wrote, hey, friend, just saw your post about your Orange Theory fitness endorsement and wanted to tell you that place has transformed my life. I joined January of last year, and I'm down 80-plus pounds, and I now run a 7-minute mile. I was a power walker when I started. It was all I could do. The results are unreal if you stay dedicated to it. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. And we are, yeah, and she looks it. I've seen her recently, and she looks, I mean, she's a beautiful person, but just seeing her 80 pounds running 7 minutes, that's crazy, right? She's in incredible shape, better shape than I'm in. I'm hoping to catch her. And I had several others, and this is cool because it happened. Florida State's own Keith Cottrell reached out to me after seeing this as well, and I don't think would mind. I don't want to give away his weight, but he said he started the Monday after the Florida debacle.
Oh yeah,
the football debacle, not the baseball.
Right.
Because
that first Monday would be this coming Monday.
Yeah, that'd be.
I'm starting.
You wouldn't believe it.
Wouldn't believe the results.
So Keith said that he started out a certain weight and he thought he was sloppy, and he gave me his waist size in this text and all that, and then he told me that his base paces and his pushes that we do there. And from there, he's like 4 months later, and I'll just tell you, he's dropped 15 pounds. He's dropped 3 waist size, and he's gone up with his push.
George W?
Yeah.
Now that's a save, huh?
Yeah, nicely done. His push pace, as well as his all-out and base pace. So, anyhow, he just wrote, keep going, man. It gets easier and easier. You'll be glad you did it. Be good. So that's just people writing in as soon as I started talking about Orange Theory Fitness. I'm new to it. I'm learning about it every day. I'm sharing that with you guys. I'm losing weight too, but it's cool to hear from people that I know, love, and people who are listeners of this show throughout the state saying, yeah, man, I'm in. No way to go back and beep that one part.
No, just, that was a very 70s comment of you. That's all I'll say.
I was talking about a man. I wasn't talking about the ladies.
I don't know that was gender exclusive to the decade. You know what I'm saying?
Man, there was a lot going on.
A lot of Eugene
70s.
Levy out there.
Oh, man. I don't know, man. That was something else back in the day. We can't comment any further. We're going to have to take a break.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Well, we always have to revisit stories that we talked about earlier in the week if there's a conclusion. And so in the interest of doing that, let's do this. You know, it's interesting, Tom. Would you say that over the years, 9 times out of 10, now maybe I'm being excessive with that 90% clip, but it seems to me 9 times out of 10, when there is an incident between a fan and a player in professional sports, and you hear both sides, that you can almost assuredly, and that's why I say 9 out of 10, believe that the fan was in the wrong?
Yeah, that is about right. Yeah.
I don't think I can recall too many times where there was a discrepancy between what was said by a fan and what a player thought they heard, and especially if it warranted attention because the player either went into the stands or walked over to the fan, slapped the phone out of their hand, whatever it might be, called security, whatever it might be. Just about 9 times out of 10, you find out after the investigation is over and they go back and they check all the audio and all the video that they have in the arena, of which there is a bounty. They find out, yeah, the fan was in the wrong. Seems the fan may have said some things that are probably inappropriate. And here we go again. The Utah Jazz have issued another permanent ban. Another one. Utah, man, get it together. From its arena for an offensive and inappropriate interaction with Oklahoma City Thunder star Russell Westbrook. Remember, we talked about this. There was another video that emerged when they went back and checked. Of course there was. And the person with knowledge of the situation leaked the information to USA Today and other outlets, but did not want to reveal their name because they weren't authorized to speak.
Well, they were cashing in, yes.
Yeah. During the incident, which appeared during last year's first-round playoff series between the Jazz and the Thunder, a fan in the stands can be heard calling Westbrook boy. So this is going back.
Ooh.
Yeah. And anyhow...
So it wasn't about orientation.
Well, but see, this is weird because if you read the story here, you go back during the incident which happened during last year's first-round playoff series between the Jazz and the Thunder, a fan in the stands can be heard calling Westbrook boy. The fan says, "Here we go, boy," to which Westbrook responds, "Don't call me boy." And the fan says it again, and Westbrook called security and said, "Get this guy out." Now, that's actually really tame, by the way. On Tuesday, the Jazz permanently banned a fan over excessive and derogatory verbal abuse directed towards Westbrook during Monday's game. So now we fast forward a second time. The back and forth here is again captured, and the Jazz have gone through and listened to and watched the audio again. And it seems that this fan, when interviewed after the game about what was said, left a few things out that he uttered towards Westbrook. Exactly what that is, we don't know, but the Jazz felt compelled to ban him for life. Can't imagine it was because he said, "Ice up your knees."
Well, and I think also, I read this a few days ago. I think this follow-up came out maybe that afternoon or evening that you talked about the story. There's a Jazz player who says that there's no place for this. Not a Thunder teammate of Russell Westbrook.
Well, no, Russell Westbrook's teammate did say that, but yes, a Jazz player afterwards did come out and say that he loves the community too much for this to continue.
Correct.
He wants them to be better. Yeah,
but
he did.
That's somebody on the other side. If you're thinking about blood boiling and there being a rivalry or anything like that, no. This is the opponent and the person that's it's his home arena coming to Russell's defense in this particular situation.
Well, also the Jazz GM, Dennis Lindsey, was upset by the actions of certain fans, and he shared a personal story, a profound story about his life, the situation that happened in that arena, and things that he's experienced, and it was and how upset he is to hear this and see this, and to be working for an organization where they have to have these conversations with their fans. Like, fellas, what? No, it's not okay. So when I said earlier this week that Utah's got a problem, it's not an opinion. This is the evidence. It's time and again. And many players have cited Utah specifically. I got to imagine that if you're obviously a rational, well-meaning, decent human being that calls Utah home, you're just mortified. That your team is routinely called out by the opposing players as being either overtly racist or certainly crossing those lines.
Not to diminish Utah's standing in this regard, but fans in general are stupid. And typically a fan who wants to get in a cross debate or trash talk a player of any kind, football, basketball, hockey, golfer,
yeah.
I mean, guys who like to do that part, I mean, those typically aren't the people that when you show up, you're like, hey, I want to strike up a conversation with this guy. Yeah. This guy seems well-adjusted. Let's talk business here. No, those are usually the types that you can circle the moment you get within a 50-foot radius of that person because they just loser. Reek, not eek.
Well, what they usually have in common is they are unhappy and they go to those games to get drunk as opposed to watch competition. They go to get loose, see the NFL on a Sunday. It's remarkable. And listen, I ain't moralizing. I like to have some beers. You guys know that. But what I'm saying is if you can't control yourself in those situations or you get mouthy to players.
Right. And there's a difference between good-natured ribbing and this kind of stuff.
There's a very big difference, and everybody knows what it is, and it's just not hard. It's just not hard to have a few beers and enjoy the game without yelling at players. It's just not hard, and it makes no sense anyhow. Every one of those guys are infinitely better athletes than you ever dreamt of being, hence they are where they are. They just happen to be wearing a different color jersey. That's who somebody else is paying them. And by the way, your guy, if he gets paid more by that team that you hate that day, he'll go over there too. That's all that is, man. I was having this conversation with my mom, not about people who get so outrageous at football games or basketball games, but the nature of fandom and really sort of the confusion surrounding professional athletes and their modes of, I guess, back and forth with their employer, right? So if you want a raise, if you need a raise, if you think you deserve a raise, you go to your boss and you sit down and you have that conversation. Nobody knows about it. Nobody knows that you and your boss are having that conversation. And whatever that is relative to your job, right, you would give the evidence, and maybe they would agree, maybe they wouldn't. And there might be some contentious back and forth, and then it's resolved, maybe in a month, maybe in a year, but it gets figured out. Either you get paid what you want to get paid or think you deserve to get paid, or you begin looking for another job and you go somewhere else, or you meet in the middle, something happens, right? But because you're anonymous or I'm anonymous, then nobody sees that. And also because we're not paid a fraction of what those guys make. Nobody cares. But when a professional athlete whose only recourse if they feel they're being mistreated and not paid what they are worth is to sit out and withhold service of their skill set, which is unique to the place that they make the kind of money we're describing, people have a level of vitriol that is completely irrational. They can't stomach the idea that somebody would turn down $12 million and not play because they don't recognize that the finite number of people that have the requisite skill set to warrant a salary of that proportion to play sports is such that that's why the money is the way it is. It's no different than like an actor asking for $20 million to do a film. People don't see it that way, though. They look at athletes and they get pissed.
Yeah, there may be some loaded reasons for that.
There's a big reason for that. Yes.
But it doesn't. It extends into other sports too.
Right. No, it extends into soccer and
across
tennis
continents.
I
mean,
of course.
And I don't know. To me, I think part of it is obviously you're trading my laundry for somebody else's. I think there's an element to it of that. And I think, honestly, that's mostly – there are some fans who can't stand what happens in Washington, the state of, or like somebody who plays for Seattle, and they think it's ridiculous that they turn down this much money and hold out. But I think most of the vitriol for that player comes from his own home market if you're holding out to not play for my team.
Yeah, they take offense, but they always side with owners who are billionaires and screw fans on the regular.
Yeah, they do.
You get gouged for parking, for concessions, for ticket licenses. I mean,
well, they'll complain about that too. It's just
it's amazing to me that they side with ownership and not the player, and I never get that. You got billionaires arguing millionaires, none of which we can really relate, but people begrudge them that. They begrudge that paycheck, and they think, well, you were offered $7 million, you should play. Well, listen, the going rate for the best receiver in the league might be $20 million. Screw you, I'm not playing for $7 million. That's the game. Sorry, you can't run a 4.2 and leap out of the building, but I can.
For most of my life, I've always understood that. And I think there might be an age gap.
Yeah.
But no, I think there's an age gap there too, because I grew up in free agency, man. I grew up in an era of highlights and free agency, Sports Center.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, good point. Older fans, I think you may be right about that. There is an age gap there.
I resist what I cannot.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
And madness.
Here comes Florida State in transition. Forrest to the right side. A three for Savoy for the lead. Good!
That much has to offer. The NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you in part by the Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee and by Lane's Medical Supply.
Okay, that ought to do it. Thanks, Jessica, for coming over and helping me declutter my home.
You're welcome. That's what friends are for. Ooh, check it out. I found some loose change in this corner.
That is the second time you have found some hidden treasures in my house.
Do you know you can find savings in every corner of your home?
Okay, I'm listening.
You can find savings from the city of Tallahassee. With their 5% interest financing for more than 25 energy-efficient appliances, measures, and systems, you can get a loan for things like outdoor lighting, floor, ceiling, and wall insulation, Energy Star reflective roofing, and even things like gas ranges, fire logs, and grills.
Wait, even on grills? I've been shopping around for a new gas grill. I had no idea, and with it getting even darker, I could use some outdoor lighting. It seems the City of Tallahassee's loan program may be the perfect solution.
Well, just be sure and invite me over the next time you grill.
Of course, that's what friends are for.
Take advantage of the City of Tallahassee's loan program and save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com to learn more. That's talgov.com for more information.
Roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
It's been many months since Hurricane Michael devastated our area. Many people are still dealing with the damages and finding it hard to get a local contractor to contact them. Are you struggling with getting assistance to fix your damages? Are you feeling like your insurance company is not being fair? If your answer is yes to any of these questions, we can help. My name is Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I'm asking you to give us a call today for your free consultation. Let my company guide you through the process to get your home back to normal.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Seminoles, it's 2019 and a new football season is amongst us. It's a new day, and we have an opportunity to build this program back to where it belongs, together. Every day we get one step faster, one rep stronger. The journey to the top includes you. We are one tribe together, and we remain unconquered. We need you in Doak Campbell Stadium this fall, and that begins by getting season tickets now. Visit us online at Seminoles.com or call 1-888-FSU-NOLE and get ready to hear
Touchdown, Florida State!
Very soon.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
She used to play hide and seek in your backyard. Now, she's getting married in it. So when you see a bare spot, you need something that patches it fast. Pennington One Step Complete has a revolutionary formula that repairs bare spots in only 2 weeks or less. Pennington has been trusted since 1945, and now it works even faster. One Step Complete from Pennington. Honest green. Get your lawn ready for any occasion. Head to your local retailer to pick up One Step Complete.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I'm going to read a quote to you, Tom Lang. See if it stirs emotions.
Pronounce it trippingly.
One way or the other. I've never met somebody more passionate about football, Johnson said. Dante is one of those dudes that is more passionate about football than anything else. All he wants to talk about is football. I'm so happy we have him with us. He's dedicated to this program. He doesn't want to talk about girls. He doesn't want to talk about music. He wants to talk about football. He's the most dedicated football player I've ever met. That was a description of Dante Lucas, the freshman.
By Bavion Johnson, who is, according to reports, having a good camp.
Bavion is apparently having a huge camp. Willie Taggart praised the offensive line repeatedly during an interview earlier this week. James Blackman has done the same. On Wednesday, Blackman, quote, said, "You guys coming to watch practice today?" He was talking to reporters. "Watch how Cam Akers breaks through the holes. They're making big, gigantic holes. They're getting better each and every day. They want to get better each and every day." Oh! And they're working hard. So then they go on to talk about, I'm not going to touch that, Tom. They go on to talk about junior college transfer Jay Williams.
That's a good idea.
Raw, athletic. Guys that redshirted a year ago, Chaz Neal. Chaz Neal's an accountant. Christian Armstrong, Jalen Goss, and Christian Meadows have shown potential. Ryan Roberts is the Northern Illinois grad transfer. He'll be here later on.
So I am immediately worried about our defensive line when I hear that.
Not done, buddy. Bavion Johnson has emerged as a vocal and emotional leader for the line. While seemingly lost in the shuffle during his first 3 years on campus, Johnson is beginning to flourish under the Seminoles' new-look offensive staff. Not only appears comfortable running with the starters, but he's often the one leading them through the drills. After a rep on Wednesday, Johnson pulled Lucas to the side to offer him some pointers. Bavion is doing a great job leading the offensive line, being a leader, said James Blackman. Before sharing an anecdote from the other day in practice, Blackman said he slipped up on something, and Johnson was the one who corrected him. Got into him. He looked back and gave me a little chirp. Made me get it right. Are you stirred in any direction there, Tom Lang? Are you feeling better about this offensive line and the direction it's headed?
You heard me, man. I'm worried about the defensive line. Clicky pens and clipboards, buddy. There it is.
I thought that's what you were going to do when I asked the question.
Somebody took my clicky pen, and I think I know where it went.
No, I took this one from Matthew. We take turns. Despite the improvement, a starting five is far from set in stone. Oh, I'd say.
There's only 2 clicky pens, and they just rotate.
Well, I read the article, and I smiled. I'm not sure I believe that they're going to go out and rule the day, but I just feel like it's good to hear that progress is being made, that perhaps they're getting better and more confident. I will say this, actually, what I gleaned from this is Dante Lucas is exactly the guy we thought he was going to be coming in dedicated, in love with the program, in love with football, wants to get better, wants to play, wants to maul, wants to help change the reputation of this offensive line. More importantly, he wants to be productive and go on and play professional sports at the position he currently holds down, which is great. That's a singular vision and a focus that we could use. Secondarily, Bavion Johnson, who's been utterly useless since he arrived as a 5-star, is a guy that, at least has shown an uptick in enthusiasm, focus, and expertise. I mean, his shotgun snaps are now something that aren't a storyline in and of themselves. So I don't know. It'd be great, this idea that a new face, a new way of teaching, a new offensive line coach that takes a different tact is going to get something out of some guys that we've been kind of, waiting on, Bavion especially. That's
the number one thing on their resume beyond the raw totals is you look at the ingredients, and these guys will make lemonade. You talk about Bryles and Clements. They'll figure out some way to score. And it may not look the same from job to job, year to year, but they're going to find a way. And if nothing else, you're right. If you simplify things and give kids confidence.
Confidence is huge.
I mean, if I have a confident 300-pound kid versus somebody who feels defeated before he sets foot on the field at that same weight, one's an anchor and one is somebody who can lead you forward.
Well, and you certainly know, I mean, I'll tell you what, we'll be talking about Randy Clements for years to come if he gets anything out of a certain tackle. I mean, that
would be incredible.
Well, that would mean that he's a psychiatrist, because here's the thing. That guy's physical tools are not in question.
No.
His inability to do anything right at all ever really stems from what's between his ears. And so if you write that, then you're able to get something of the physical tools, and that would be downright amazing. That he was able to come in and kind of change the way that kid thinks. I'd be somewhat stunned, but I'm rooting for it. I'm big time rooting for it because I feel bad for the kid. We're never going to, ignore the fact that he played that poorly, but at the same time, I don't want him to leave here without feeling, like he had contributed something, got something out of a college career, gave us something.
If he does, then, Clements is the Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer of offensive linemen.
Is that dude still around?
I don't know.
Is that show still happening?
Maybe. I'm sure he's getting residuals from reruns.
Oh, he's rich. I'm sure he's rich. But I just wondered if that was still on.
You see, Jawad Williams is your pack leader.
Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Wall-to-wall hoops action. Of course, you can hear Westwood One's exclusive coverage of this year's NCAA tournament right here.
97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee's sports monster.
Hey, Mike, how's the house coming along?
Needs a ton of work. The pipes are leaking. Needs a new roof. The AC just broke. I just don't have time to do it all myself. You know anyone?
Oh, just ask Home Advisor. They match you with the best local pros for any home project.
Cool.
Yeah, you can read reviews and book appointments online.
What's it cost?
Actually, Home Advisor is always free to use.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Go to HomeAdvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. It's that time of year again, tax returns. And year after year, we get countless phone calls here at Kraft Nissan about our New For You program. Just last week, I got one of those calls myself. It was a young woman who said she had gotten a couple of thousand back on her taxes and that all of the used car lots she visited were trying to put her into cars with over 100,000 miles on them. I told her that every year during tax season, Kraft Nissan puts literally hundreds of people into the first truly brand new car of their life. That's right, Kraft Nissan's New For You program has been copied by dealers across the country, and it's a game changer. So if you're thinking you need a car when you get your tax return, why not make it a brand new car from Kraft Nissan? Remember, credit scores under 600, no problem. Recent bankruptcy, no problem. Recently divorced, no problem. Grab your tax return check and come see how 4 out of 5 people get approved at Kraft Nissan. People all around Tallahassee are discovering if you have a dent in your credit, now more than ever, you don't see the Kraft tag on your car. You paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the social agreement. You and a buddy can split one order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
State Farm, Robert here.
Robert, somebody burned down my she shed.
No one burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Oh, really, Victor? Because my she shed's burning up in the backyard.
Your she shed was struck by lightning, Cheryl.
Robert, does State Farm cover my she shed?
What's a she shed?
She turned our shed into her hideaway, Robert.
Oh, yeah, that's covered.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
Can we stop saying she shed now?
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm. Talk to an agent today.
Time now for your Tampa Bay Lightning Minute, brought to you by Township of Tallahassee.
The Tampa Bay Lightning rallied from a 3-0 deficit to defeat the Detroit Red Wings last night 5-4. The Lightning has defeated Detroit 15 consecutive times. And with the Lightning leading 4-3 in the third period, Nikita Kucherov scored his second goal of the game.
Miller thrown out. Stamkos will take it against Glendening, and Stamkos wins it. Evan left line, right circle, Kucherov. Score! An absolute rocket from Kucherov!
Dave Mishkin on the call. Kucherov had 4 points on the night. He's up to 115 points on the season. Steven Stamkos, Braden Point, and Tyler Johnson also scored goals for the Lightning. Stamkos ties Vinny Lecavalier for the most career goals as a Lightning player with 383. Next up for Tampa Bay, the Washington Capitals Saturday night at home. With your Lightning Report, I'm Greg Linnelli.
At Township and College Town, for the table, by the people is not just lip service, it's their mantra. Tallahassee's largest beer hall offers drafts served in steins and a unique twist on upscale pub fare. Just walk up and order for the table and grab a seat by the people. Some you may not even know. If you're looking for a more intimate gathering, Township offers The Garden, a unique setting to Tallahassee complete with outdoor fireplace and a retractable awning. Oh, and let's not forget the 32 taps and private bar. Book it for your next party or company event. Township Tallahassee, 619 Woodward Avenue in College Town.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. If you like a flair for the dramatic, then you certainly will like what's going on in the ACC basketball tournament. The Noles squeezing by Virginia Tech last night, 65-63. So now the 4th-seeded Seminoles will meet up with top-seeded Virginia tonight at 7 o'clock in the first ACC tournament semifinal game. As for the Florida State baseball team, they too are in North Carolina today. The 6th-ranked Seminoles at 13-2 take on NC State, who comes in at 17-0, 3-0 in the conference. For Florida State, they go at 6:30 tonight, 6:30 on Saturday, and then 1 o'clock on Sunday. The Noles won 3 of 4 against NC State last season. Well, Georgia Tech is back in the news as a former Georgia Tech assistant coach is being charged by the NCAA with level 1 violations relating to Atlanta's strip club visit that includes a couple current NBA players, including Jarrett Jack and Wendell Clark Jr.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio, and a fine libations Friday to you and yours. Loosey-goosey edition of the program. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. On Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. Thanks for watching on YouTube as I throw pins. Periscope as well. Boom. You can email us, JCS at 979 ESPNradio.com. I don't know. I guess we'll see if there's a lingering effect. I'll ask you this question, or I'll posit this to the audience, and then we'll answer it. Coming off a 20-7, first time we get to see Florida State again on the diamond. It's tonight. Doak Field at Dale Park, Raleigh, North Carolina. Did you know that about their baseball stadium?
No,
Me neither. Me neither. Anyhow, so it's not exactly the Whiz Palace, as we call it, or anything.
You'll ask me the same question in 2 years, and I won't know. I'll say, no, I didn't.
You might remember Doak Field just because of Doak.
We'll see in 2021.
Yeah, we will. I'm going to remember this in 2021. I'm going to ask the question. You're going to go, well done, good memory. But I still don't know. You won't know the Dale Park part. That's the part you won't know. It doesn't matter. My point would be this. We got beat 20-7 after leading 6-0 into the fifth. Had the streak broken. It was over. McKeithen Stadium was witness to the end of a losing streak. Gator fans on their hands, silent, pissed, just chalking up another loss in the early part of the season to a Florida team to see seems to be in disarray. And then it's 20-7, and quick. It happened quick. It was the wheels, proverbial wheels coming off the tracks.
Don't worry. We can just transfer money from your account into a portfolio with your son, and it's gone.
Boom, it was. My goodness gracious. All because, I don't want to put it on one thing, but the way it began was just a simple routine ground ball to third. And I don't blame him. He's been great. That happens. If you play third base, if you play any infield position, you're going to make a couple errors in a season. It shouldn't be enough for the wheels to come off, because on the very next pitch, you get a ground ball right back to the pitcher, tailor-made double play, and we're done. We're erasing that error, and we're moving on Big River. But instead, a turn, a stare at second, nobody covering second. I don't know whose fault that was, whether that was Salvatore's fault or Nander de Sadas, but either way, neither is there. And now we have first and second, and now every Florida State fan watching that game went, oh, here it comes. And the worst part about that isn't that you at home said, oh, here it comes. It's that every one of the players on the team did the exact same thing. That's what's so bad about that.
Oh!
That they immediately went into a shell. That they immediately thought, oh, it's going to happen. And, of course, it was. At that moment, it was always going to happen because they almost will it to be. You know, it was a comedy of errors. You watched a clown show break out of nowhere for the first time all season. See, it'd be one thing if over the course of the season, through the first 14 games, you thought, man, every now and then, Tom, as you like to point out, that's in them. You remember that 8-7 Mercer win where they had 5 errors? Or that, you know, I'm just making this up now. I know we beat Mercer 9-5, 12-1, 5-1. That was off the top of my head.
Sure was. There's no prepared note whatsoever.
Well, you remember that Youngstown State game. It was 24-2, but that really masks the 6 errors they made. There hasn't been any of that.
Freaking Martin.
There really hasn't been any of that. I could tell on the night that Jacksonville game got canceled, we were going to commit 5 errors.
Freaking Martin.
But he got lucky because of the rain. No, it was none of that, man. It was we were picking up the baseball, not only picking up the baseball to the tune of the #1 ranked defensive club in college baseball.
And it's gone.
And it's gone. And it's not a setting. It's not like, hey, look, man, they've played 3 games. Ease up on your stat reference. There's not enough evidence here. It's not enough data points. No, man, they had 14 games. By now, you kind of get a feel that they can pick up the baseball. So this is clearly in your head. Clearly, because that's the evidence is overwhelming that you're not that against anybody else. You're not that in terms of picking up the ball, anyhow. And I guess the greater question is now, do you just – I know what you say as a coach, but I'm curious. Do they shake that? Do they shake that? Because it'll show this weekend if they haven't. And do they go up there and win this series? Or do they get beat 2 out of 3, get swept, and all of a sudden one loss turns into 4, turns into 3 more, turns into something a little bit bigger than you anticipated before you get back home here against UCF on Tuesday?
You asking me?
Yeah.
My answer?
Well, I don't get the brain head cold.
No idea.
It's weird. You want to fast forward to Tuesday, March the 26th. You want to get to the end of this month as quickly as possible and to play Florida again at the baseball grounds of Jacksonville. I will tell you, there's a part of me that thinks they will be okay. Because I think there are a couple guys on this team with a whole lot of what for that haven't been a part of all of these losses. They're probably now indoctrinated and well-versed in what can happen. But Nandor Sadas went down to Gainesville with a whole lot of get you some. That bat flip was that of a man with supreme confidence, and that ball was hit to the moon. I think there are kids that you kind of watch the way they conduct themselves on the field. Your favorite, Mr. Bell?
Yeah. I'm not going to stand for this kind of an attitude.
But there are guys, right, who I think have a whole lot of, okay, bring it. And they're going to be the ones. They have to be the ones. Because the veterans on this team, they're probably shell-shocked. Like I don't anticipate Drew Mendoza breaking us out of this. Not that he's weak,
right,
but he's been a part of this for too long, right? The here we go mentality can easily creep in for guys that have been on the wrong end of this excessively.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the plays in the fifth inning was a throw from JC to Mendoza that gets past him and allows runners to advance, and you're like, oh boy, this is just
right.
I mean, that's a type of play where it's all about your mental awareness and the game moving a little fast for you at that point, which was what was so disheartening about that inning was I think one ball left the infield. It was the base hit to center,
bizarre,
the aforementioned one.
Yeah, I mean, you're chucking it out to right field. But I feel like Elijah Cabell, who I was just mentioning a moment ago, like that kid doesn't care. I mean, he can't wait to hit a ball over the scoreboard and pimp it.
Yeah.
And we need, I mean, I hate to say it, but we need those dudes. We need those guys.
Well, if you're looking at it from their perspective, you're saying, all right, lesson learned for them.
Yeah,
but
the lesson is our veterans are just.
Well, no, I'll try and be kinder. It can get away from you with a quickness at this level. Maybe that's the lesson for them.
Against Florida.
Well, it's not like Florida was a bunch of world beaters. It was just,
No. My point is that it can get away from you, but Florida didn't do anything great to make it get away from Florida State. Florida State melted down. So if I'm a young player here, I go, we had the double play ball. We had another ground ball. We threw it. We had another ball go back to the pitcher, which is chucked out in right field. Florida was not hammering the ball off the wall. That's the lesson that I take if it happens that way. If I'm a young player, it's like, whoa, against good teams, it can turn. No, against Florida, these guys are bitches. That's what I'm thinking if I'm young. And I hope they are. I mean, so we've seen that, Tom. I mean, in other sports, like in any sport where we follow a team, right, there's the guy that has to be quiet because he's new. He's immensely skilled, so he breaks into the starting lineup. But he doesn't say anything as a leader because it's not his time. He has to sit back and wear it. And at some point you go, okay, so these guys are not going to get it done. I'm going to have to say something here. And then as a fan, when you watch it, you go, yes, please. You wouldn't have to be here if these guys were getting the job done, but you are because they're not. Take over the situation. I hope some of those guys do. It doesn't have to be them, the two I named. There are other good players on this roster that are young that have not been a part of this losing streak for as long. I got to imagine they're embarrassed. I mean, humiliated even. baseball's a funny game. It doesn't do you much good to get riled up inside the way it can in football, even the way it can in basketball. But they heard the responses. I mean, this whole city this week, everywhere I've gone, everywhere. My son's baseball games, obviously. Picked up food from a restaurant one night. Another time I had lunch during the week at Bumpa's, and I was sitting there eating a salad, big, giant, beautiful, tasty Cobb salad, Tom. And two people walked up to me and said, "Hey, I appreciate the show." I said, "Thank you for listening." And then they said, "What happened to the baseball team?" And I wanted to go, "Well, have you watched any of the games against Florida? The last 15 games against Florida? We've lost 14 of them."
I don't know. Maybe I should ask my Cobb salad. Maybe the Cobb salad has an answer.
Yeah, I don't know what I just don't know what you say if you're Mike Martin. If you're Mike Martin Jr., what do you say? That's what I've been perplexed by all week. Like, what do you do? Do you just jog off the field on the wrong end of a 20-7 beating that you largely caused, and yet again?
That's why you get paid the medium level dollars.
I would just, I don't know, man, because baseball is a game where I guess you just don't want to put too much pressure on guys, but goodness gracious.
You got to take a temperature of what your guys are. If you browbeat them, do they go into a shell? Or if you browbeat them, they come back stronger? They're the only ones that know the answer to that.
Unfortunately, there is a certain guy who I know I can't put on the mound against him. I know that.
Well, we were lucky to get out of the second inning, first of all. If you just want to talk about the flow of the game and it not being close, and then obviously we let it go from, like, we're routing them to we're getting our butts whipped. In the second inning, the calls that we get at 1-1 and 1-2.
Yeah, the pitch on the outside.
Greg Maddox would not have gotten that call.
That's college baseball. Those umpires suck, and it goes against you just as much as it goes for you. Those calls way off the plate happen all the time.
There are no strikes being thrown, though, so typically you don't get a bailout strike.
Well, but
when you can't even come near the plate.
Yeah, but one thing I'll say about it is good on that young man, because once he calls that outside pitch, way outside,
he split the difference after that.
Yeah, and he goes back out there and says, "Okay, well, I'm going to keep testing that," just like Maddox and Glavine used to do. Oh, really? It's strike out there? Well, let's take it an inch further, and then you reach a breaking point and you throw in between. The kid for Florida didn't adjust. He sat and looked at the same damn pitch. Come on, man, swing the bat.
If you're throwing like 12 out of 14 balls or whatever, some kind of crazy number.
No, I understand what you're saying. That's just a testament to how sorry college baseball umpires typically are, or inconsistent. But Florida didn't adjust, just like we don't adjust all the time and complain to the – I'm always like, guys, that's the way it's going to be, man. They're going to call that. You're going to have to flick it away. You're going to have to do something. I'm curious. I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this weekend. I could be completely wrong. Maybe they look at it as a blip on the radar and they just say, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. You know, it's Florida for whatever reason. We're just snake bit right now. Let's go out here and kick NC State's ass." Conference series matter more anyhow. You could look at it a lot of different ways.
It's still March is how I look at it, and I don't think we're going to be holding any 5 a.m. practices coming off of this weekend series, which we have done recently. You know,
so that was the Virginia Tech series a few years ago.
I don't think the sky is falling quite like that.
I just wish we could play Florida 3 times this weekend, 6 times over the next 6 days.
Just to get one.
Just get one and
go 1-5.
Just be done with it.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
The cutting down of the nets as our partners in Westwood One bring you all the heart-pounding moments.
Kevin Gilly is there again. We are tied in Nashville.
And madness.
And another one is done. Xavier knocked out by Florida State.
That much has to offer. The NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you in part by Wood and Glass, Pockets Pool and Pub, and by Truck and Car Concepts.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Yes. Yes, that is right, good sir. Baseball is upon us.
Hey, man, what are you having?
An El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Going all in on the Gordos in honor of baseball, my good friend.
Get me an El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Those are the reasons you always come back.
You were all in on that singing.
And I dance, too.
No, not necessary.
Watch. All right.
Off the bar, Eddie.
No, watch.
And the tapping?
Oh.
Sweet Jesus, Eddie, are you all right?
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Gordos, where Eddie will dance on the bar. In baseball. Yay, baseball. In Gordos.
Need help moving? Two Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit twomen.com or call them at 850-224-2232. Two Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Hendrick. Want to know what power feels like? Come get behind the wheel of an all-new, completely redesigned 2019 Silverado 1500 from Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevy. So hurry in to shop our huge selection, over 100 in stock, at Tallahassee's Chevy Truck Headquarters, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevy on West Tennessee or DaleJr.Chevy.com. Find new roads.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet, Tallahassee's hometown Chevy dealer.
24/7, 365. You're up and at 'em every day, so you don't want something like Medicare Part D to slow you down. At Walgreens, we'll take care of your Medicare Part D prescriptions, saving you time and money. Make the switch to Walgreens today and get more by earning 100 balance reward points and save up to $5 on each Medicare Part D prescription when Walgreens is your preferred pharmacy. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Prescription savings applies to Tier 1 generics when you fill at a preferred versus a non-preferred pharmacy on select plans. Points can't be earned in New York, New Jersey, or Arkansas. Other restrictions and limitations apply.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Woohoo! Hey, look at that. A.J. McCarron got released. Sorry, I take such pleasure in the misfortune of A.J. McCarron on a regular basis, usually once a year when he gets released by whatever team picked him up the year before.
It's probably because his mom complained that Antonio Brown doesn't speak clearly enough.
My other favorite part is that I told you about that guy who berated me on the SiriusXM show for dismissing A.J. McCarron's chances of succeeding in Cincinnati. He followed it up with an email. He found me and wrote an email. And I responded to him that I don't know how you could know that there aren't enough A.J. McCarron starts anywhere to have the evidence to base your argument on, sir. Not in the pros, anyhow. And he didn't respond, but Raiders have seen enough. They let him walk. On that note, speaking of the Raiders letting people walk, Jordy Nelson, got any interest? They let him walk.
What's the NFL equivalent of a minor league deal? I guess it's like every contract that doesn't have any guaranteed dollars, right?
Yeah, he's 33 years old. I don't know. It was one season with the team. He did catch 63 passes for nearly 800 yards, did play 15 games. It wasn't like he was completely fruitless in his endeavors there.
Go back to Green Bay and have a 1,200-yard season.
Well, if Aaron Rodgers is throwing it to you, probably so, but I don't know what he's got in the tank. I'm just saying, when you have nearly 70 catches and 800 yards.
Well, break it out. We've got Evans and Godwin as your true two starters. And then you've got the Watson kid. And then they just signed Brashad Perryman, I think.
They did. That's a lot of speed.
and you've got obviously OJ over the middle. I mean, you could bring him in if he was cheap. I'll bet somebody signs him for a little bit out of our price range.
Yeah, does he want to play? I don't even know. I mean, it's just something to throw out there. Just something to throw out there as we continue to look at the NFL.
Did you see the Cole Beasley thing?
No.
So Cole Beasley signed with the Bills, and some Cowboys fan tweeted him, that's a horrible move. You're never going to succeed there. He goes, and I'm paraphrasing, he goes, well, I never succeeded in Dallas anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. I'll be fine. What is it? Angry Cowboys fan.
Yeah. That's
terrible decision. You're never going to succeed there.
That's funny. I know this, that there were people upset in Tampa Bay, obviously. Speaking of little white wide receivers in the slot, that we did what we did, but there's one coming out of Clemson, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's an annual thing.
So is Renfro going to New England or Green?
Actually,
with what pick? What round?
5th, 4th?
Oh, he's gone earlier than that.
Really?
Those dudes are valuable.
All right. Can you get him in the 3rd round?
Would you want him in the 3rd round? We've got a lot of needs. I feel like we projected we're going to go linebacker in the 1st round since Quan's gone at this point.
I think it's a really good pick.
And Beckwith is,
Who are we going to sign at corner? Can we get a corner? We don't have any that can play.
Who's our 2nd round pick? I don't know.
Our corner?
That's what I'm saying. That's our guy.
That's
our guy.
I'm going to start scouting 2nd round corners, Tom. That's what I'm doing. Because, good Lord. Again.
Maybe we get McFadden.
I'm just letting you know that, to me, it begins and ends with the defense in Tampa Bay. You can't be breaking franchise records for utility and not address that side of the ball almost unequivocally across the board. Like every pick needs to be a defensive player.
I feel like we're going to hear more about that today. I don't know why.
I feel like it's going to be talked about when I get angry about folks in Tampa and the way they cover Jameis. Anyhow. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Wall-to-wall hoops action. Of course, you can hear Westwood One's exclusive coverage of this year's NCAA tournament right here.
97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee's sports monster.
Hey, Mike, how's the house coming along?
Needs a ton of work. The pipes are leaking. Needs a new roof. The AC just broke. I just don't have time to do it all myself. You know anyone?
Oh, just ask Home Advisor. They match you with the best local pros for any home project.
Cool.
Yeah, you can read reviews and book appointments online.
What's it cost?
Actually, Home Advisor is always free to use.
Nice. I'll check it out.
Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app.
Home Advisor.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Seminoles, it's 2019 and a new football season is amongst us. It's a new day, and we have an opportunity to build this program back to where it belongs, together. Every day we get one step faster, one rep stronger. The journey to the top includes you. We are one tribe together, and we remain unconquered. We need you in Doak Campbell Stadium this fall, and that begins by getting season tickets now. Visit us online at Seminoles.com or call 1-888-FSU-NOLE and get ready to hear
Touchdown, Florida State!
very soon.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and only can be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. Going on right now during Jeep Freedom Days. Only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. ST18J605 must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Right now at Kohl's, shop hundreds of epic deals. No coupons needed. Plus, get Kohl's Cash. Women's tees, $6.99. Young men's graphic tees, 2 for $16. Jumping Beans tops and bottoms starting at $5. Nike and Adidas shoes, $49.99. The Power Air Fryer XL, $99.99. The Big One bath towel or pillow, 3 for $10. It's not your everyday sale. Right now at Kohl's. Select styles. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and... she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. If you like a flair for the dramatic, then you certainly will like what's going on at the ACC basketball tournament. The Noles squeezing by Virginia Tech last night, 65-63. So now the 4th-seeded Seminoles will meet up with top-seeded Virginia tonight at 7 o'clock in the first ACC tournament semifinal game. As for the Florida State baseball team, they too are in North Carolina today. The 6th-ranked Seminoles at 13-2 take on NC State, who comes in at 17-0, 3-0 in the conference. For Florida State, they go at 6:30 tonight, 6:30 on Saturday, and then 1 o'clock on Sunday. The Noles won 3 of 4 against NC State last season. Well, Georgia Tech is back in the news as a former Georgia Tech assistant coach is being charged by the NCAA with level 1 violations relating to Atlanta strip club visit that includes a couple current NBA players, including Jarrett Jack and Wendell Clark Jr.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
When that moon gets a big...
You watched it last night, Duke and Syracuse. The reason I bring it up is twofold. I don't remember this ever happening. This is not one of those old guy, get off my lawn, things were better when I was younger segments. There were a lot of things about basketball that, have been improved upon since I was a kid. So that I'll admit. Others that not so much. But one thing when it comes to sort of the kind of cheap shots and the kinds of things that guys used to do compared to what they do now, this is harsh. If there are kids in the car, turn it down. It seems like the modern player is a little bitch-made. I'm not real sure you would ever catch somebody in the 80s or early 90s tripping people. When did this become a thing? Frank Howard last night for Syracuse is tripping people and actively trying to trip Zion Williamson. As a testament to the strength of Zion, he didn't have an effect on him when he stuck his foot out. He just blew past him, and it was kind of funny, actually. His foot gets – it's like, that's – sir. It made him look even worse because it's a ridiculous thing to do, but then to not have any effect, to like you're a twig, is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But, it's interesting because we've seen tripping. Florida State certainly has seen tripping.
Oh, God.
Unfortunately, we saw, a little bit of it from the same guy at Duke over and over again. But the tripping thing, I remember an incident last year in the NBA, there was a trip. When did tripping was not a thing? When did tripping? I mean, this is really, look, you got clotheslined, you got punched, you got elbowed in the neck. When somebody wanted to affect you and your play because they were tired of being dominated, it crossed the line, but you got into the lane and you got hurt. You got taken down, and it led to brawls and all that other stuff that we talk about. People are out here tripping. I mean, come on now.
Well, I think part of it is obviously the way the game is officiated, and if you take some of the rough stuff out of it, this is what comes. And I can tell you because
of hockey.
In hockey, the 90s, I know
slashing in the face and
people
all
that grew up watching the 70s look at the 90s and they laugh. But I grew up in the 90s, and the Eastern Conference was a bloodbath, and you could start a fight and you could finish the fight. Now, if you start a fight, you're afraid of getting an instigator, which is an extra 2-minute penalty,
right,
which can cost your team goals. So it really takes the fighting or the answering back out of the hands of an enforcer type. So the enforcer is gone, and now
Bob Prober is no more.
Right. Tom Wilson for Washington is the closest thing you have to it, but he actually has skill on top of it. So what happens? Now you have stick infractions.
Yeah.
Now you have
and that's
finesse
the
infractions.
argument that hockey people have always made is, hey, the more you restrict this, the more somebody's going to get slashed in the face, or tripped, or whatever it's going to be.
Well, and without hijacking and going quickly back to college basketball after this, my argument would be this. The game is so fast now that you couldn't have a goon anyway, so remove the instigator so people can be held accountable.
Yeah, be held accountable is a good way to put it, yeah. Just like you wanted to remove the DH in the American League so that pitchers who threw at people had to hit.
But I think in basketball, if you look at the NBA, it's easier. Obviously, everybody remembers the Pistons from the late 80s, early 90s.
And I don't need that. I'm not advocating for that style of basketball on a nightly basis. But retribution, these are men out here playing basketball. What are we doing with tripping?
Well, you think of guys like from those Pistons team or an Oakley from New York who was or Dennis Rodman, who was he was weird, though. He'd do some weird stuff. So maybe he would be like a tripper in the 90s.
He probably would have hit you in the stuff.
Right.
I mean,
he'd be like a Boulware and the other guy from Clemson who might be goosing you a little bit when you're in the post.
Just bizarre stuff.
Yeah, weird kind of stuff. But in those days, those guys were a little bit slower and blockier, and they were more brawlers. They looked like somebody who would be unloading a beer truck, and now the guys that are playing in both college and pro compared to 20, 30 years ago, these are finely tuned athletes. And the way the game is officiated, you combine those two things, these are a bunch of finesse guys for the most part. There aren't a whole lot of brawlers left in the sport.
No, and I don't like the style of basketball that the Pistons made famous. I don't need to see a game uglified the way the Knicks did it as well. I want the finesse and the athleticism to be on display for all of us to watch, because that's when basketball is great. Jordan being able to be Jordan was important, and the Pistons sought to take that away just by clotheslining him every time he came to the rim. That's not good. All I'm saying is if you reach a point to where you decide I'm going to cross the line because I'm really tired of this guy hammering on us every time down the floor, well, be a man about it. This half-ass playground 7-year-old nonsense trip you during kickball. Let's go. Be a man about it then. But he didn't want to be because he knew he was tripping. And that's the other part of it is if you can't do it, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Just understand. He's too big, too strong. That's the world, man. Imagine people trying to trip Shaq. At least they tried to club him. I mean, you're going to trip Shaq. It's ridiculous. But I just, that tripping thing has become really new. It's weird because there was an understanding that basketball has, just like baseball does, unwritten rules. And luckily I know those just from growing up playing a ton of playground basketball. And the deal was this: you could do almost anything except for things that fell under the umbrella described as what I said earlier in the segment. And the one thing you really couldn't do is you couldn't undercut anybody. No undercutting or we're fighting. And it was on as soon as it happened, and everybody understood it, that you were going to be fighting.
I've seen a lot of undercuts. Remember
it has to stop.
Second half of the Virginia Tech game, Kofor got undercut. There was no call.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. And here's the thing. The sport,
that was the one in Tallahassee, that one.
It can happen by accident. It can happen in a box out, and you always have to be able to discern, was that just the nature of the sport? He's trying to get position, and I was already up, or did he undercut me? And there, it's interesting. In baseball, if your pitchers are wild, at some point, even if they weren't intentionally hitting people, the rule is, well, then you can't throw inside because you can't have control enough to do so. So if you keep hitting our guys, even though I know you didn't mean to hit them, your players are going to get hurt because you just don't have the skill, the requisite skill to make that pitch. And in basketball, it's sort of the same thing. It's understood you don't have the hops or the strength, then you need to do what a lot of guys do, which is to get the hell out of the way and let Holmes dunk. Or do whatever he's going to do. Can't undercut him. Because it's really dangerous, really dangerous. It's kind of in-career dangerous, and that's why it's understood. Tripping? Like tripping, spitting, shots to the boys. These are all things that's just understood by people playing the game. You cannot do.
Right, if you want to give them a Smurf bite, when you're in the post and you got,
A Smurf bite?
Smurf bite.
Is that like a spider bite?
It's like, it's kind of like a spider bite, but you're using,
yeah,
you're just your pointer finger and your thumb.
Ooh, that's
You'd
have to be quick.
You have to be quick. You get right up under the arm. I didn't do this, but you just
have to be really quick.
That's like the thing is in the 80s they call that gamesmanship, things like that. They go, well, that's gamesmanship, and now they'd say, well, that's just ridiculous.
Well, I've never seen it. I've seen in football. I've seen spider. I've been spider bitten at the bottom of a pile.
There's also a Smurf bite. Yeah,
never heard of a Smurf bite.
Man, it'll get your attention.
Sounds painful.
You're like, hey,
yeah,
the hell was that?
Hell? No, pinching's not cool.
Yeah,
I was at a party one time. And it was crazy. It was a wild party. This is a long time ago.
Oh, wild one.
Oh, really?
90s rave?
Yeah, this was not. I didn't go to raves, but it was a wild party and a lot of fun. And things got so out of control that people were kind of wrestling, and there was a lot of wrestling. And it was fun wrestling, though. Nobody was getting hurt. It was kind of just crazy and fun.
Oh, okay.
But, nobody was out to hurt anybody. It was just kind of fun.
And it wasn't like 3-year-old, hey, we're wrestling kind
of.
No,
not like that. But a buddy of mine was down at the bottom of the pile, and I can still remember him yelling, "Who's pinching me? Somebody is pinching me!" And he just was screaming over, "Stop pinching me!" And somebody was pinching his hamstring, spider biting.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous and painful.
Yeah, the most ridiculous and painful experience I've ever had like that is, for some reason, then this wasn't a wild party. This was just, boys being boys, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I go over to my friend Paul's house, and I was best friends with him and his older brother at different times in my life, which I find interesting because usually the line of delineation between one grade and the other is pretty stark until you get to college. But I was at their house, and they were 3 boys. So that house is just,
wild stuff.
Rough and tumble. I was the only boy. Me and my sister got in fights, but not like they did. So when I first was hanging out there, I was like, my God, I better be ready for anything.
Like these boys will throw down.
Well, they would do purple nurple contests of who would basically chicken out and just say, all right.
No.
It's essentially like a submission contest. It's ridiculous.
It's a ridiculous contest.
Yes, it is.
Well, it's no more ridiculous than the dumb stuff I did in the 80s with the eraser on a pencil on your arm, see who could do it the longest. Just over and over. Oh, your skin's bleeding and everything. Yeah. We did that all the time. I've still got scars. It's the dumbest thing you've ever
What?
Done. It makes no sense. It was a thing in the 80s. Somebody listening to me right now knows what I'm talking about. You'd take the eraser from a pencil in school or whatever.
Effing sadists.
Yeah, and we would sit there and see who could go back and forth on your hand the longest.
Like the eraser or the metal part?
No, the eraser.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then eventually your skin wore away, of course, and you began to bleed, and then it was just a matter of pain tolerance. People get infections. It's ridiculous. What the hell?
People get infections.
Oh, yeah, I saw guys get infections, yeah. They'd come back to school on a Thursday and their hands all mangled. They had to get a shot or something. Yeah, Ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, I don't feel so strange now for a purple nurple.
I had a friend named Tommy Stock who really messed up his hand by the time we were this was all in middle school. By the time we were seniors in high school, I remember I'd look over his hand and I'd see that scar, and I remember that happened in 6th grade.
Still can't swing a golf club. Everything's a hook. Everything's a hook because of the erasers.
It's absurd. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Goes wins it. Evan left wing, right circle, Kucherov.
Score! An absolute rocket from Kucherov!
Dave Michigan on the call. Kucherov had 4 points on the night. He's up to 115 points on the season. Steven Stamkos, Braden Point, and Tyler Johnson also scored goals for the Lightning. Stamkos ties Vinny Lecavalier for the most career goals as a Lightning player with 383. Next up for Tampa Bay, the Washington Capitals Saturday night at home. With your Lightning Report, I'm Greg Linnelli.
At Township in College Town, for the table, by the people is not just lip service, it's their mantra. Tallahassee's largest beer hall offers drafts served in steins and a unique twist on upscale pub fare. Just walk up and order for the table and grab a seat by the people. Some you may not even know. If you're looking for a more intimate gathering, Township offers the Garden, a unique setting to Tallahassee complete with outdoor fireplace and a retractable awning. Oh, and let's not forget the 32 taps and private bar. Book it for your next party or company event. Township Tallahassee, 619 Woodward Avenue in College Town.
Okay, that ought to do it. Thanks, Jessica, for coming over and helping me declutter my home.
You're welcome. That's what friends are for. Ooh, check it out. I found some loose change in this corner.
That is the second time you have found some hidden treasures in my house.
Do you know you can find savings in every corner of your home?
Okay, I'm listening.
You can find savings from the city of Tallahassee. With their 5% interest financing for more than 25 energy-efficient appliances, measures, and systems, you can get a loan for things like outdoor lighting, floor, ceiling, and wall insulation, Energy Star reflective roofing, and even things like gas ranges, fire logs, and grills.
Wait, even on grills? I've been shopping around for a new gas grill. I had no idea, and with it getting even darker, I could use some outdoor lighting. It seems the City of Tallahassee's loan program may be the perfect solution.
Well, just be sure and invite me over the next time you grill.
Of course, that's what friends are for.
Take advantage of the City of Tallahassee's loan program and save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com to learn more. That's talgov.com for more information.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Yes, yes, yes. That is right, good sir. Baseball is upon us.
Hey, man, what are you having?
An El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Going all in on the Gordos in honor of baseball, my good friend.
Get me an El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Those are the reasons you always come back.
You were all in on that singing.
And I dance, too.
No, not necessary.
Watch. All right.
Off the bar, Eddie.
No, watch.
And the tapping?
Oh, up.
Sweet Jesus, Eddie, are you all right?
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Gordos, where Eddie will dance on the bar. In baseball. Yay, baseball. In Gordos.
Want to know what power feels like? Come get behind the wheel of an all-new, completely redesigned 2019 Silverado 1500 from Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevy. Shop over 100 in stock today.
Find new roads at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet and at DaleJrChevy.com.
Change your oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles for a longer-lasting engine and better gas mileage. Change your oil at Superlube today, and for a limited time, you'll get a free car wash. Right now at Superlube, you never need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area locations, there's a Superlube just minutes away right now.
Boy, this place is sure convenient. How I love to Superlube my car, lube my car. How I love to Superlube my car. Yes, sir.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So, I never really did get to it, did I? What I wanted to say when I brought up the basketball wasn't just about Frank Howard being the way he was last night, but rather also to point out that Zion Williamson is – I know. Well, welcome to the party, Jeff. No, I've watched him play. I get it. There was something about – maybe it was just his return and he was obsessed with being, showing everybody he's fine. But the level of intensity on the defensive end of the floor was really what stood out. I get it, 13 for 13, 29 points. It's a perfect night at the office, 14 rebounds. That's incredible. I mean, you can't play any better than he played. He knocked down a three. He did everything. But defensively, I think if you're an NBA team, the debate about his offensive skill set, what translates, what doesn't, how long it will take for him to be a more diverse player than he is right now. Most everything's at the rim right now. He can shoot threes. That's a thing that right now, from an NBA standpoint, he's going to have to develop more consistency. Those similar comments were made about LeBron, and they were accurate too. When you're a dominant physical presence and you have the ability literally to jump out of the gym, and you have that size to go along with, you can dominate college and certainly high school basketball games just by going to the basket. And there's nothing anybody can do. Of course, in the league, they're grown-ass men, and they are not going to let you just go to the basket. But sometimes there are guys, and last night he looked like one of them, that transcend, that are preternatural, that you go, I don't care how big and strong those guys are in the NBA. They don't look like that. He's 280 pounds. This is the guy that Hubie wanted LeBron to be his rookie season, that LeBron later became. This guy's coming into the league like that.
Yeah, I think an earlier example of what you were saying before is Blake Griffin. Remember, because he could dunk and he was a showstopper, and people thought, I don't know, does that actually translate? And it did, and it did.
Yeah. But he also developed game. Remember, he developed that mid-range and all that other stuff.
He could put his back to the basket and then work off that in the post, and that opened up some things for him. But, I mean, you said, all right, does this one trick still work? And, yes, it did. The difference with Zion is the density.
It's unbelievable.
He's got the muscles of a young Shaq, but the density of a big baby Davis. And the question is, if he can develop even a 15-footer, let alone a three-pointer, then you got problems. But it's that bone density that's reserved for 28-year-olds, and he's got it 10 years early. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, I would.
That's wear and tear stuff for the NBA.
Well, and it's just when you look at, first of all, you can't be that big and jump that high. It's just it's so seldom seen. Well, first of all, a guy as lean as, say, Jordan was or Dominique was, that's how high he's jumping. We're looking at a 40-whatever-inch vertical. Only add 100 pounds to the physiques of Dominique and Jordan. It's really bizarre. It's physically. If Karl Malone could have jumped really high, or Charles Barkley could, but he was only 6'4", and Charles really actually is a physical freak. When you go back and look at him with his Sixers days after he leaves Auburn, it's like the bumblebee. He shouldn't be able to fly by every aeronautical principle, right? That was Charles Barkley.
I just hear Lou Holtz in my head.
Yeah.
Everybody hears Lou Holtz in their head.
Yeah.
Every vegetable can't fly.
Yeah, but it was true.
That's why I say the Knicks.
He was saying it to USF back then.
Well, he did a Knicks one.
Yeah,
Remember that?
he'll do it to
Why is he
whoever.
talking to the Knicks?
Because the Bumblebee thing was awesome. But that's Zion. When you look at him, you go, that's not possible. And then his shoulders are above the rim, and it's just dumb. And people, by and large, do get the hell out of the way. And they'll get the hell out of the way in the NBA, too. They will get out of the way. It's that kind of power. How quickly can he routinely create off the bounce with his handles, the ability to shoot the basketball consistently? My guess is pretty quickly. You'd be a dumbass not to draft him number 1.
Well, and that's why, even though it's a conference tournament and these things do have their own limitations and they're about money, this is still a WrestleMania-esque double main event tonight because in Tallahassee, you got Florida State, Virginia, and then, of course, you've got Duke, North Carolina. But that doubleheader's coming up right here tonight, folks. You can hear it.
Yeah.
When you're going from party to party.
Whatever you're doing.
Traveling safely, of course.
You'll tell the Uber driver, put it on 97.9 ESPN radio. They got the basketball games rolling.
And he'd say, or she'd say, you're kidding me.
I had it on already. I just hadn't turned it up.
Yes.
There it is. I actually went to a concert the other night, and I did take an Uber because concerts are places that you sometimes have alcohol. And I got into the Uber, Tom, and the man was very kind, and he's probably listening right now. Hello, sir. Thank you for the ride. He was great. He said, oh, I know you. And then he later on made me laugh. And I appreciate this kind of honesty. He said, I've heard you, and my neighbor loves you, and it's a woman. And I said, oh, well, tell her I said hello. And then he said, but I'm retired, so I don't consistently listen. And then when he dropped me off, we had a long conversation all the way from my house over to the venue, and I guess I had won him over. He said, I'm going to start listening to you, buddy. I said, all right, good. Keep it on in the Uber for everybody.
One more.
There it is. Come on
Join
into
the
fold,
millions,
buddy. Let's
Join
go.
the millions.
Make it happen. That's a good thing. Yeah, it made me laugh. So anyhow, I thought I'd mention that I did mean to make a point about Zion Williamson, and that point was that is unbelievable to watch. Just something about him last night, and yeah, he was locked in. There was a rebound at one point last night where you could hear the sound of those mitts getting a hold of the ball, and it echoed through the arena, and he went into traffic to get it and just towered above everybody, brought it back to the other hand. It looked like he was grabbing a tennis ball. It was absurd. I thought, well, good God, man.
You've always known that Zion was good, much like the Uber driver, but in this analogy, you're the Uber driver, and last night you were taking him to his destination.
That's right.
He won you over by beating Jim Boeheim's ass.
Well, and the thing is, it's not like I didn't already say earlier this year, like everybody else, yeah, he's kind of got to go number 1. I'll say this. If you're a franchise drafting first, say the Knicks or whatever, and you don't take him, how about it? Do it the other way. You do take him, and he's a miserable failure. You get no backlash.
Yeah, that's right.
You get no backlash. It doesn't matter.
But if you pass him up and he's great,
then forget about it.
Well, it's just another chapter in Knicks history.
That's correct. That is correct. You can't be that team that decides to outthink the room. Don't outthink the room here, man. Sometimes it's that obvious. Don't do it. It's funny. Trey Jones has told me numerous times, head golf coach at Florida State University, if they're great college players and great amateurs, they're probably going to be good pros. He's like, very simple. He's like, Ricky Fowler was a badass at Oklahoma State. Won a lot. He's been a good pro. Not a great pro, but he's been a good pro.
Yeah, bad example, coach.
Not really, because Ricky's won on tour several times. Yeah, no. I mean, it's funny, right? I mean, Tiger Woods was great at Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you go
prolific, you might say.
He was, and I didn't realize to the.
That's right.
I didn't realize to the extent that the College Golfer of the Year award, which I've told you about, has been so accurate in predicting long-term PGA Tour success. There are like 2 examples in the last 20 years of guys that were that prolific in college that didn't go on to be very good in the pros, or at least have long careers, you know, where they
lucrative careers.
Yeah, where they made a ton of money.
Yeah, like John Houston was never going to scare, 4 majors, not even 2, but he made a lot of money. That dude was a money list warrior.
Charles Howell III, man. That dude,
nice little resurgence for him.
I'm happy for him, but I mean, he's from Augusta, so you kind of have to do something. But the point would be, my man has made a gazillion cuts. He's on tour. He'll be on tour until he's 50 because he makes every cut. You go look up some of those numbers.
Remember
it's absurd.
how hard they tried to make him the face of the sport?
They wanted to. It was, Well, and
hear me typing, looking for his career earnings.
I bet it's $40 million. $24 million. No, $40 million. I'll stick with $40 million.
You stick with $40 million. I'll get you the answer in just a moment.
I'll stick with $40 million. That's a lot. Maybe not that much. Just career earnings on the tour, let alone the sponsorships he's had, though. So you don't get to probably see that.
Oh, no, you don't get to see that.
And those deals are big.
Why is that not, readily available on
All right, we'll look it up during the break. We're going to another hour. You got time. Let's look it up.
Damn it. I need to know how much Charles Howell III is made.
You will. It's a tease for everybody driving in their car going, I, too, want to know how much money Charles Howell III
But
is
it's not the same when I don't know.
Jeff Cameron, Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Truly great deal when they hear one. And to get things started, Kraft Nissan is offering $50 when you test drive a new Rogue. Here's how it works. Go to our website, craftnissan.com, and search Rogue. Pop-up will appear and choose a $50 reward card from either Amazon, Visa, or Best Buy. Next, tell us your email so that we may send you a reward code. Simply bring that reward code to Kraft Nissan, test drive a new Rogue, and you'll receive a $50 gift card instantly. And at Kraft Nissan, we're so sure we have the best prices in town that we'll beat the prices of our competitors by at least $1,000. And we'll put $1,000 over Kelley Blue Book on your trade. Plus, all Kraft Nissans come with our exclusive lifetime warranty, absolutely free. It's Kraft Nissan's fiscal year end with Nissan Corporate. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
FSU football is returning.
Touchdown FSU!
But before their drive to build a new winning season, Doak After Dark returns with another amazing concert. Classic hits from the 90s hit the stage again as MC Hammer brings his epic throwback party.
Stop. Hammer time.
Also featuring Tone Loc and Color Me Bad, the biggest hits of a generation. See the concert after the FSU spring game Saturday, April 6th. Hammer's House Party Live. Get your tickets now at Seminoles.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Reminiscing with Amazon Music.
Remember Coach's halftime speech back in junior high?
That song he played probably won us the game.
What was it again?
Alexa, play the song that goes, burning with determination.
Rediscover the songs that defined a moment in time. Amazon Music, the simplest way to listen to the music you love. New customers start your 30-day free trial at amazonmusic.com. Renews automatically, cancel anytime.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachian Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. If you like a flair for the dramatic, then you certainly will like what's going on at the ACC basketball tournament. The Noles squeezing by Virginia Tech last night, 65-63. So now the 4th-seeded Seminoles will meet up with top-seeded Virginia tonight at 7 o'clock in the first ACC tournament semifinal game. As for the Florida State baseball team, they too are in North Carolina today. The 6th-ranked Seminoles at 13-2 take on NC State, who comes in at 17-0, 3-0 in the conference. For Florida State, they go at 6:30 tonight, 6:30 on Saturday, and then 1 o'clock on Sunday. The Noles won 3 of 4 against NC State last season. Well, Georgia Tech is back in the news as a former Georgia Tech assistant coach is being charged by the NCAA with level 1 violations relating to Atlanta's strip club visit that includes a couple current NBA players, including Jarrett Jack and Wendell Clark Jr.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for this week. Loosey-goosey Libations Friday edition of the program. Jeff, that's me. Tom, that's him. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Young Matthew is directing the program as well. There he is. No camera on him. Wish there was. You could wave to you. JCS.ESPNRadio.com on Twitter. It's at J Cameron Show. And the WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. Thanks for watching on YouTube and Periscope. Appreciate you. And I think, yeah, that's it. I really did go rapid fire there. That was quick. So I normally we get into, like, you're supposed to reset, as they say in the business. We don't really follow those rules on the Jeff Cameron Show as frequently as you'd like.
You hear Jim Rome's voice, and you're like, all right, that's enough.
Well, and he literally took the format of every program director in America and then stated it aloud by telling you his intentions to either tease or to reset the situation. But anyhow, go ahead.
I don't think this Antonio Brown's contract, I don't think it's going to work out. So I got some thoughts on that. Oh, you just told me your thoughts on that, pal. I don't care. You gave me your thesis.
Yeah, that's it. I want to know how much Charles Howell III made.
$38 million.
Damn, I'm good. Damn, I'm good. That feels. You got to give me credit on that one.
I do. Full marks.
I did. I guessed about $40 million, and it was 38. All right. But that's ridiculous because he is average at best. There he is.
All right. Way to go, Donnie.
$38 million for Charles Howell III. Well, and sponsorship money, so he's got more than that. I mean, it's...
I'm sure, yes, because his name is Charles Howell III. He's probably got some financial investment firm.
He should. But, I mean, his bag and his clubs and all that, his gear, that's all sponsored, and those deals are lucrative. Those NetJets deals and all that,
I do like the golf format more, though, because you got to show up, play, and make a cut to earn your money. It's not like, all right, so you had a good season or two, and you're 23 years old in the open market, and so here you go, here's a big deal, and now you're a bust because you got a whole bunch of – you got to keep earning that cash, man.
No, if you want – yeah, listen, I can't imagine how much money Freddie Couples made in his career. Now, the problem is when we have these debates, Tom, it's like we both agree Freddie should have done more with that talent. He's freakishly talented. At the same time, it's a little unfair because Freddie is still kicking ass on the senior tour. He did win a major, and that major happened to be the Masters. He did win TPC Sawgrass, speaking of which, where they're playing right now. He won some significant events. And back in the day, he won freaking the Skins game every time it was shown on television.
Well, I think the thing you got to remember, though, is that he started making his money before Tiger. So his career earnings, it would be impressive in terms of results, but in terms of dollars, like, top tens to dollars is not the same then as it is now.
all of those guys that watch the rise of the purse for each of these events, no matter what their personal feelings are about Tiger Woods, the human being, they adore him as a professional golfer. And they need him, and they love him, and they'll thank him from now until their dying days, because he transitioned the sport much the way that Arnie and Jack did. It was the second revolution. Arnie and Jack, forever beloved, for good reason. I mean, Jack, obviously the greatest golfer of all time, but Arnie was the first to kind of do it, and as the TV era became a thing, then Jack, and then there's a long time, and we're still waiting. That's why when Jack won at 46 years old in 1986, everybody was so excited. Again, this uptick. But from then until Tiger, you got nothing.
Arnold made it TV friendly, and that's before he ever worked with the Golf Channel, but he made it TV friendly, and then the closest thing he had to it probably was Greg Norman.
Yeah,
probably.
And he wasn't. I mean, he was a star, but
of course Jack was. I'm reserving Jack. Sorry.
No, you're just trying to find other guys that drew people to the sport or drew people to the television. But think about it. Greg Norman did, but Greg Norman, I mean, couldn't
only
hold
won
a
2
candle.
majors, right?
Yeah, and he was a real good player for a long, long time, but he couldn't. He was also an ass. I mean, he's just a difficult guy.
So case in point about the Tiger effect, Charles Howell III has made $38 million in his career. Freddie Couples, $33 million. So Charles Howell has out-earned Fred Couples. That tells you everything you need to know about the Tiger effect.
I would also know that I guarantee you Fred Couples has made $100 million in advertisements. I mean, he's advertised everything under the sun at one point. And he, I understand it. People are comfortable giving money to Fred Couples to advertise their product because he's a good-looking guy, laid back. You know he's not going to get in trouble. Like, you don't have to worry that some story is going to come out about Fred Couples unless spa visitations became a thing. I mean, I'm not alleging anything.
Is that a caveat for everybody?
I think everybody on the PGA Tour.
Everybody who's a white collar.
Yeah. If you're super rich and you go to spas, you're the kind of guy that goes to a spa, then, I suppose you're susceptible.
So, like, everybody from Robert Kraft to Xander Schauffele needs to be like, ooh, well, okay.
Yeah, you never know, right? You'd always kind of, well, he's Schauffele. I don't know, down to South Florida a lot. We'll see. Florida State, Virginia tonight, 7 o'clock.
Maybe it's the Champions Tour you need to worry about because those guys are all young, in good shape these days.
He doesn't need the
They're
spa.
all young, good shape,
good-looking,
but maybe the Champions
individuals.
Tour you need to be, careful about.
I would say that's fair, especially like if you don't have it like Freddie has it. Like if you're
Tom Kite.
I was gonna say Tom Lehman. I was gonna say Lehman would be a guy that might want to visit the spa.
Right, like Darren Clark's gonna be okay, potbelly and all, because that guy just has charisma for.
Well, he's also
eons.
at the bar.
Yeah,
he's gonna have his pick of those that are a little bit easier to persuade.
My spa's the pub.
Yes, and he is probably awesome at those pubs, and you'd want to spend a night at those pubs with him.
He's a guy.
He's funny and cool.
He leaves you bruised on the arms, but it's okay because he's just punching you because it's a term of it, a form of endearment,
without question. No, and he went through tragedy and came out the other side. But I'm sure a night at the pub with him would be a little bit of laughter, a lot of laughter, maybe some tears in the middle. And then a lot of laughter again. Like, that's how he would leave it, right? But that middle part might be tough when he's got to thinking about his wife who passed. That would be – because it would come up, and you'd have – you'd want to hear it, but at the same time, your heart would ache. But then he'd feel bad for bringing you down, and he'd whip everybody back into a frenzy.
That's
and
right.
He'd call everybody.
Maybe he'd chuck a glass against the wall to make everybody laugh.
That's enough of that. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay, I'll clean it up. Hey, give me the broom.
And he would. And he would. You don't need to apologize. I'll buy you 10 more just like that one. Don't worry about it, because he could. And then he'd break out the claret jug. He'd be like, because he could. And it'd be great.
Boy, I feel like I just had a great experience with Darren Clark. I
think you probably did. A better experience than the experience that we're going to get watching Florida State and Virginia tonight, which I don't think is going to go our way. And I'm not even sure that I need it to go our way. How about them apples? I say that every time, but then I watch, and when I watch, the Nolan me comes out, and I go, no, I do want him to win. It's not that I never want him to win. It's just that I don't think they're going to win the next 2 games and win the ACC title. So if you're not going to win the ACC title, then we did what we needed to do by solidifying the seed with the win yesterday. And so for me, I'm ready to take on some rest. Let these guys rest up until that first game, either Thursday or Friday, and be done with it. At the same time, I get it. Leonard Hamilton's not going to do that. He's just not. And I get asked a lot, so do you. Everybody does.
These kids owe it to themselves, too, to take a shot. Take a shot. I mean, if you're going to win yesterday, and it might be
in overtime.
Right, yeah. And you're going to gut it out, and Terrence Mann's going to be the one to win it for you in overtime. And
that shot's amazing, by the way, when you watch it again and again.
How about that photo that FSU Hoops put out there?
Great photo.
If you haven't seen it,
it's iconic, yeah.
That Twitter account does a great job, too. I think across all the Florida State sports, it does the best job because it gives you a lot of windows behind the scenes, the celebrations in the locker room. I mean, I know in basketball it's easier to do because the locker room is a smaller, more controlled environment. But they do a great job with graphics.
Say they do a better job than the football Twitter?
I just think the basketball account is probably the best one. I think it does the best job. I don't know what you're insinuating.
I would note this, by the way, regarding tonight's game against Virginia. You saw Jerry Palm had us as a number 3. Bracketology on the Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com. That 3 is temporary, we think, and would only be cemented perhaps with a win tonight against Virginia, and that's fine. I don't really anticipate us being a 3, but if we win tonight and you can get the 3, well then I don't disagree with you. If that's what you think is on the line, okay. Tom, as you have noted numerous times, they're all wrong for us, baby. And I don't like the matchup.
I think you need to hit.
You got to get crazy from 3, and we're not going to.
14, 16 threes, somewhere in there. I mean, it would have to be an absurd number. The only thing I would say in our favor is for us, I don't know how powerful we are to do it. Usually you say you're powerless to do something. But I don't know if like the idea of a revenge game is anything on their mind or it's some kind of motivation.
So early in the season on the road.
Being embarrassed is a different thing than losing. And they were absolutely embarrassed. And if you recall, through I think it was 8 minutes in the game, we looked okay. We were keeping pace with them, but then we just completely got our doors blown off, and we saved face a little bit with some scores down the stretch.
Well, the backup crew got in and rattled off like a 13-2 run.
Now, maybe, I don't know, all this Virginia Tech that we've seen, both on film and then obviously in the half court and how good they've been at denying us entry to the paint, maybe prepares us in a way like Georgia Tech did for seeing Syracuse on the road. I'm just trying to find ways, as you can tell. I'm grasping.
Well, I'll give you one. The candidate, maybe, there's 2 for me. Devin Vassell, an empowered, confident young man who just hit a mega huge shot in a high-intensity situation. Got to imagine his confidence is soaring. And, it's interesting, Tom, if you think about the game and you think about Vassell's role and the diminished role of MJ Walker. MJ, man, I got to imagine you're him. You're looking around like, well, hell, yeah, why don't you get off your ass? So there's a little tough love for MJ. There's a little tough love for MJ.
That's good for 4 points.
You're getting smoked by a freshman who's going to take over your minutes if you don't stop sucking. There's that. And then PJ Savoy did hit 2 of the threes that he took, and he only took 3, so 2 of 3. And I go, might you be arriving at just the right time, young man, saving yourself for this tournament run after a year's worth of being ass sorry? Might you be rolling in here ready with some what for the postseason?
I don't know. That's a lot of positive love I'm sensing over there. That's the tough love side. So I think now PJ is going 1 of 6 tonight because you're giving him a little bit more of the mojo, the good mojo.
I don't know. I just nominated him as a candidate to rise up and hit some threes, and for us to be looking over there like there's the guy that in the NCAA tournament, when you had to hit a 3, you were going to him, and he hit a lot of big ones, including the biggest one in that run. We'll see. I don't know. you know how streaky shooters are. You get it when they see the ball go through the hoop, when they gain a little confidence. And his stroke looked pure yesterday. I thought, oh, okay, well, it's been a while.
I think tonight is going to teach us whether or not we want it. And I don't mean that in the grand scheme.
Oh, we could want it and play hard and lose, but you'd still recognize.
But I mean, if Virginia goes to that place that they go and we don't want to go along for the ride, it could get ugly and you could see it, I think, quickly. Whereas in the Virginia Tech game, that was hard fought. I know we got out to a lead, but there are a lot of tough moments in between, and we answer the bell every single time. If Virginia tests us and tests us and tests us again, and then we call it off, you'll know. You'll know very quickly.
I wonder, again, I'm not picking us tonight. I did pick us yesterday, and I did say that, okay, get that one and call it a day perhaps. But I would be surprised if we won tonight. I'd be downright shocked. Which would you be more surprised by? If Florida State, with the remaining games and teams involved in this tournament, was to somehow rise up and beat Virginia, North Carolina, or Duke, which would be the one where you'd go, oh, well, that is certainly surprising. Before you answer, I'm going to predict your answer. North Carolina.
Yeah, obviously. I think just because of how tough they are down low. So if you go through Virginia Tech, Virginia, and North Carolina, with the way they either crash the glass or deny, the way Virginia Tech does and Virginia will, offense through the paint, Duke is a much better matchup for us. If we had to face any of those three in the actual tournament, like when it counts, when it goes home, I want Duke all day long because of the lack of three-point shooting.
I don't want North Carolina yet.
And they'll run with us, and you need Kamigali to step up. But we saw that for a half, too.
We did.
They were out of sorts because they didn't know what to do ratio-wise with Zion because he was getting denied at the rim. So I like that matchup if I have to pick all three. And it's probably Virginia is the least likable matchup, then North Carolina. But then it's a gulf between the Tar Heels and Duke.
I will say the version of Zion that I saw last night, that's a problem for anybody.
Well, if we win tonight, which I mean,
big
1 out of 10, right? Maybe 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
Then root for Duke if you want to win this title. Because I don't think we could run through those three teams in 3 days if North Carolina is the winner tonight.
Interesting talking point last night. I know we got to go to a break, but interesting talking point last night. They were talking about, and it kind of pissed me off a little bit. They were saying that would the committee give the ACC 3 number 1 seeds? And Jay Billis was talking and said, look, they've done it before. We've seen it happen before, but they don't like to do it, perhaps. But you can make compelling arguments now that Zion is back that this would be Virginia, North Carolina, and Duke as 3 number 1s, then maybe Gonzaga. If you wanted to throw an SEC school in there, Kentucky, you could maybe do that. But in the midst of that conversation, he said, well, I don't even if LSU wins the tournament, I don't know how you – can we stop with this? Do we forget Florida State beat LSU? They did. And LSU hasn't been that great. Stop that.
Yeah, they lost to Florida. Did we?
No.
No.
Again, Kentucky, okay, all right. If you want to look elsewhere and go Gonzaga, okay. Stop. There's not too many other candidates. Who else are you advocating?
No, Billis had it as 19, I think we were in his 1 to 68 rankings. Coming out this week, he had us at 19.
But I'm less offended by that. I could make an argument for 15,
You could put Virginia 17. Tech up around 12, 13 and put us at 19?
I wouldn't, but his argument might be that if they had their starting point guard, they're a better team than Florida State.
If Trent Forrest had 2 good feet.
Right.
So go to hell, Jay.
I got you. But I'm saying it's not that absurd if they're projecting him to be back for the tournament. You can see why somebody might argue Virginia Tech is at least equal, if not better, than Florida State. The other stuff drives me nuts. Again, I mean, it's funny when this all comes up because, as you noted, I mean, look, we beat Purdue, and people love Purdue. We beat LSU. People love LSU. I'm going to sneeze.
And then we also, I didn't get the mute button. Damn it. I hit my mute button and not your mute button.
Woo! Double whammy.
Now, people, that happens maybe once every 2 weeks, and you never hear it, but I failed today. Hopefully we don't fail tonight.
What I will tell you, by the way, and that's a good way to put a bow on that failure.
You gave me the warning, and you should have seen.
I even gave you the warning.
My fat finger goes, and then it hit my mute and not yours.
My favorite part about that is I don't believe an audible sneeze of mine has gone out over the airwaves in over 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got to hear that, today's a special day.
It's a lottery day for you. Go get yourself a
ticket.
Go
get you a ticket, indeed. It's
Play
just.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Delicious food, the best drink specials. Connect to their free Wi-Fi and keep up with your bracket. From the opening tip to the cutting of the nets, come see why Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Oh, my goodness!
Did you see that game last night?
Ooh, instant classic.
I can't believe how much Burton was sweating in the ninth. You could see each bead dripping off his brow.
I didn't see him sweating.
My girlfriend was blown away by his clear skin. She kept going on and on about what his daily regime is. It was pretty impressive. I'm sure you noticed that.
Yeah, I didn't notice his smooth skin.
Either you don't have a girlfriend or you don't have DirecTV.
I don't have either, actually.
Wow. Really?
Live sports that aren't in 4K are just kinda TV. Only DirecTV has the most live sports in 4K. Don't just kinda TV, DirecTV. Switch from Dish and get a $100 reward card. Limited 4K programming available. Requires entertainment package or higher and compatible equipment. Reward card with 24-month agreement. Maintain service and redeem within 75 days. Card within 4 weeks. Ends 3/31/2019. Select markets only. Requires 2-room setup. Minimum $47 per month for 12 months after discount. Price is higher in second year. New residential customers only. Equipment lease, activation, installation, early termination, equipment non-return, and other charges and restrictions apply.
Ready to rule the open road? Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevy has what you need. Get huge savings on the 2018 Silverado 1500 during the Silverado Sell-Down Sales Event. Shop our huge selection today.
Find new roads at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet and at DaleJr.Chevy.com.
Hey sports fans, who's on your Mount Rushmore of baseball? I'm going with Ruth, Cobb, Aaron, and Mantle. Football, I've got Bradshaw, Peyton, Montana, and Brady. In basketball, Jabbar, Jordan, Bird, and LeBron. This debate could go on, but when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of personal injury law in Tallahassee, the choice is clear. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm, so avoid the underdog and go with the favorite, Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey.
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Yes, yes, yes. That is right, good sir. Baseball is upon us.
Hey, man, what are you having?
An El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Going all in on the Gordos in honor of baseball, my good friend.
Get me an El Gordo and a Gordo smash. Those are the reasons you always come back.
You were all in on that singing.
And I dance, too.
No, not necessary.
Watch. All right.
Off the bar, Eddie.
No, watch.
And the tapping?
Oh, up.
Sweet Jesus, Eddie, are you all right?
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Gordos, where Eddie will dance on the bar. In baseball. Yay, baseball. In Gordos.
Hey Tallahassee, this is Danny Aller.
And Matthew Crowbaker.
Join us for the Saturday morning bottle share every Saturday at 9:30 a.m. right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee's Sports Monster.
March Madness is here. Join Tallahassee's Sports Monster all NCAA tournament long, from the opening tip to the cutting down of the nets, as our partners in Westwood One bring you all the heart-pounding moments. And madness.
Here comes Florida State in transition. Forrest to the right side. A 3 for Savoy for the lead. Good!
that March has to offer. The NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you in part by the Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee and by Lane's Medical Supply. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All right. I have long maintained that the people in Tampa, and what sucks about this is I understand, coming from where I'm coming from, that this discussion, this talking point, is going to be perceived as one born solely out of bias. And that's just not true. I think that there are numbers that support my argument above and beyond just my initial emotional response to articles like John Romano's yesterday and others.
John Romano's still writing?
Just came back. I'm glad that he did. He's back with Tampa Bay Times.
Really?
Yeah. And he's back in sports. And so he comes out the box right away, Tom, I think, revealing to us, to some degree, it's a very short article, and I'm going to read it. Not to chide you. I know you guys are capable of reading, but presumably you're someplace right now where you can't. So here's what I'll tell you about this. It's pretty clear where he's coming from. Having been away, when you write this kind of a column, you're clearly stating that you're not a big fan of Jameis Winston. And, okay, there are plenty of people who are or are not. That's not the crux of my issue. Bucs fans right now are anxious, my mother being one of them, that you look around all over, this is the time of year where big-name free agents are signed. And when your team doesn't do it, you feel like you're missing out. And you oftentimes forget teams aren't typically built through free agency. Wise drafting and then supplementing your team in the areas of need when you're on the verge of taking the big step to the playoffs or a Super Bowl run is how teams are built. But it's primarily done on draft day. You might find a guy that fills a hole perfectly. You've got the cap room. You make the move. But those teams that usually go out and spend a ton of money on free agents trying to plug holes, it doesn't typically work out. So what I will say is, yes, Cleveland's on the come. There's no doubt. They're not screwing about. And they somehow were able to broker a deal the likes of which every team in the league, if they could have, would have, because the Giants are just dumb. All right? They're just dumb. But that's not my point. It just gets me to where we're headed. Here we go. Let them celebrate Odell Beckham Jr. in Cleveland. They can pop the courts in New York for Le'Veon Bell and blow kisses to Tyrann Mathieu in Kansas City. Truth is, there's not a single NFL city that has a shot at the player the Buccaneers need most. You want a new savior in Tampa Bay? Say hello to Jameis Winston. This isn't exactly surprising, nor is it reassuring. But every decision the Bucs have made recently seems to revolve around the idea that Winston will finally emerge in 2019. Okay, I'm going to stop there. What in the world? He led the Bucs to their first winning record since 2010. He broke multiple franchise records in his first 3 seasons in the league. He set 4 NFL records in his first few years in the league. Does he throw too many interceptions? Yes. Is he a top 5 quarterback? No. But what is this idea that possesses the folks in Tampa that the problems in Tampa Bay have to do with Jameis Winston? How about that their defense has sucked ass for years? One of the worst defenses in the entire league for years. What in the world are we doing down in Tampa that every columnist and person charged with covering this team somehow puts this at the feet of Winston? It's ridiculous.
I believe that's why, because they feel like they're being charged with something. They're being charged as though it's a bad thing. It's a negative thing that I have to cover him. You get that sense, especially from the print people. The print people specifically. And there aren't too many print outlets anymore. So it's kind of limited to the one you're reading from. But that one is hardly even-handed when it comes to this topic, especially when you're talking about on-field production.
It's unbelievable, Tom. It's as if the guy's never done anything since joining the league. He has been, as far as rookie quarterbacks go, pretty close to what you would hope he would be if you had the other pieces around him. He's got things to work on, as all young quarterbacks do. He's got things he can get better at, which he did at the end of last year, and hopefully it will transition into this year as well. But the idea that you're banking on your franchise quarterback to get better this year as your hope for a better outcome this season as being a bad thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He goes on to say, when it came time to hire a new head coach, the Bucs found the oldest one available. Why? Because Bruce Arians is a famed groomer of quarterbacks. When it came to re-sign one of their free agents, they sent the Brinks truck to Donovan Smith because a quarterback needs a left tackle. And
that would only happen in Tampa, John.
Here we go, John. Right. And when the free agency store opened this week, the Bucs stood around waiting to see who showed up in the clearance aisle. Why? Because they have little space under the salary cap. And that, too, is Jameis's fault, I'm sure. He does say this. That last one isn't all Winston's fault, but he does play a key role. His salary cap hit is about to go from $7.9 million to $20.9 million, which accounts for a good chunk of money the team might have otherwise used to re-sign Quan Alexander.
So it is his fault.
Here we go. Quan Alexander or Adam Humphries. Let's get this right, John. So we tell Winston to have a good day, but we re-sign Quan Alexander and Adam Humphries with the money we save. And you're writing a different column about how things are great in Tampa Bay?
Because Ryan Griffin's going to throw to Humphries.
And that, my friends, is your offseason. The Bucs have neither the time nor the salary cap to adequately remake their roster outside of a few draft picks. So if the Bucs are to be a different team in 2019, it will be because Arians made Winston into a different quarterback. If you want to win instantly, that's probably the way to go. You bank on the idea that back-to-back 5-11 seasons were caused by the coaches on the sidelines and not the players on the field. But if you're wrong about Winston's potential, you'll have mangled the salary cap, planned your draft around a misguided notion, delayed a rebuilding effort by yet another year, and lost the faith of the fans.
Well, I'm not signing Quan Alexander if I need to rebuild, because by the time I rebuild, he's not around. So which is it?
Gets better, Tom. Gets better. We go from here. Truthfully, a $21 million salary for a quarterback is not outrageous. It's like he went and looked it up afterwards and went, my points.
No, he didn't. That's his editor.
It's essentially the league median for starters. But in this case, it's a little pricey for a quarterback given Winston's resume.
No, it's not.
Of 16 quarterbacks slated to make that kind of money, Winston is one of 3 who's not taken his team to the playoffs. He's in the bottom 5 for passer rating, has the worst winning percentage as a starter. Quarterback wins. It's not a statistic, John. It's not a statistic. That said, here we go. You know, the idea that the faults in Tampa Bay lay at the feet of him is persistent throughout and pervasive throughout the media that covers him in Tampa Bay specifically. I find it shocking. There are, and we could do this thing with statistics. I get that what he just wrote there is true. I also could write a column telling you that the only reason the Bucs have been in a position to win 5 games is because they had Jameis Winston on the roster. That it certainly wasn't because of a defense that was the worst in the league. Second worst franchise, that defense in 2018 in the franchise history.
We've had a lot of bad ones.
Oh!
Well, for me, I'd say if you want to talk about last season.
8 consecutive years, bottom third in points allowed, Tom. Our defense is ass.
Well, if you want to talk about last year on an island, yeah, it wasn't a good year for Jameis because obviously he starts with a suspension and then in the middle of it he gets benched because he's
played horribly.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Which we talked about, readily admitted, even said he needed to be benched.
But if you're going
when
to
he comes back.
Well, if you're talking about the balance of his entire career to this point in terms of on-field production, he's on pace to be just fine. Is he a bust?
Andrew
Not
Luck?
even close. Is
Not even
he
close.
great? No, but he's on pace and he's developing. What you saw this year, the response to getting benched. Rightfully so. Got to put that in there, too. Rightfully
we both said
so.
it. We said he should be benched.
He was our worst player for 2 or 3 games.
That's saying something because our corners.
Well, yes, it is. Because in Cleveland, I don't know how the hell we won that football game. And then the Cincinnati thing that game was so eminently winnable. That's like the one I look at above all others and I go, he's the reason we lost.
Yeah, sure.
But the way he writes it, you feel like he's the reason we lost, I don't know, 15, 20 games the last 3 years.
The way he writes it is that he's been a bust. He's the problem in Tampa Bay that hasn't been addressed. And that he has a need of rescuing. That is simply not true. The numbers do not bear that out. Again, I can find, and I would, and I know them. He set multiple franchise records, including NFL records. He's passed Andrew Luck and several others that are very well thought of. I can write that column too. I would put those numbers alongside the ones he chose to use.
Right, with passer rating versus salary.
Right, yeah, to illuminate. I mean, I think that it's a safe bet in Tampa right now. If I'm wrong, then the franchise is screwed, and we'll have to say it, and we'll go on the air and do so. But I think the overwhelming evidence at the end of last year was Dirk waited too long to put him back in against the Giants, against the Giants when Fitzpatrick was killing us, was the reason we were losing. Jameis nearly leads a heroic comeback, and from that point forward, he's great. He's great. He stops turning the ball over with ridiculous turnovers. There are some turnovers that are going to happen. When you get hit from behind at 50 miles per hour, you're going to fumble the ball against Dallas. It's going to happen. There's only 1 or 2 more picks the rest of the year that resemble anything close to the picks that got him big.
Other than, he's got desperation picks, like against New Orleans.
I don't count anything at the end of a half or at the end of a game down, whatever, throwing the ball into the end zone. I'm only going to count the ones where you make a poor decision and throw to an area that defies logic.
He knew what he was looking at towards the end, which is why at the end we're saying, God dog it, he and Dirk have reached some sort of peace accord.
He also ran when he needed to run, and
Yeah.
he became very smart with the football and
Got down when he needed to get down.
Everything about the way he played the game in the second half of once he came back was exactly what you wanted.
I think the hard part is you do invest those dollars in a left tackle, not because Jameis Winston needs more protection than any other quarterback in the league, which is just stupid. I mean, that's beyond stupid. That tells me that they graded these kids in the first round and they said there's no left tackle in this draft. Because why would you bring back that dude who was clear as day on tape loafing by the end of the season instead of going and investing in a pick and even flexing Dotson out to left or finding some other combination, because that's an expensive combination and that leaves us a little bit more cash strapped than picking up his 5th year. They already picked up the option in his 5th year. Like, he's greedy for taking the money or some nonsense is what you're writing there and insinuating in that column.
No, I get it, and I like John. I just am surprised. That's the tack that group has taken at the Times. It's pervasive there. And that's, okay. We disagree wholeheartedly. And I get it. Folks listening to this are like, okay, you're in Knoll, you're in Tallahassee, you know Jameis, you're going to make that case. I could make the case if none of those things were true and it was just looking at the numbers.
I think, honestly, I've been a little bit harder on Jameis as a
harder,
Buck. Yeah. But I would say this is totally off base. If you were arguing just about last season, you've got a couple of legs to stand on, right? About the shortcomings and whether or not they are red flags for the future. And it's not just about the off the field. It's about, for the first time, he really didn't know what he was looking at. The response to that is obviously the positive argument you could make. But if you're going to look at his whole career to this point and then look at that 5th year option and whether or not it should be picked up, because as he's pointing out, he's saying this is essentially a rebuild and we're wasting another year. So you've watched his whole career to this point, and this is the conclusion you're coming to.
That's what I mean. That
nuts. Is ridiculous.
Arians said it at the combine, and he talked about how it doesn't help when you're down 21-0 every week. I mean, the defense has been so bad it changes the terms of the game.
Speaking of changing the terms, what he just did too was he'll take a hit in March, but then if they succeed in the fall, he's already flipped the narrative for the Times that they can position that Arians is the reason for the season.
And it will be really annoying because we've already seen Jameis do great things with a terrible coach like Dirk Cutter. But I would also note that Todd Bowles came in, and that was a great signing for the Bucs to bring him in as defensive coordinator. The Bucs are in a process of transitioning. Now, look, I don't like that we're unable to go out and maybe make a run at Antonio Brown. I think maybe the pieces were there to do so. If you could have gotten Antonio Brown by trading Djax and a third rounder, I would have done that.
You start 3-5, and you got the same problems.
Perhaps I'm going to take my chances. We won't start 3-5. And given the fact that Arians likes to throw the ball down the field, I'd like him. I think he'd be happy. But again, I'm taking that risk. Doesn't matter. We didn't take the risk, whatever it might be. But not re-signing Humphreys and Quan Alexander. Love Quan. He's coming off a devastating knee injury. We'll see. I mean,
it just that must have been edited to high hell, and then it's just a I don't even know, a collection of thoughts that don't line up. Because if you're in a rebuild, why would you bring back Humphreys and Quan Alexander? They're not going to be around for the end of it. So why waste your money now? Why not just save the money?
And you also wouldn't pay Humphreys like the Titans did $9 million a year. He's a 5. What are you doing? Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Intimate gathering, Township offers The Garden, a unique setting to Tallahassee complete with outdoor fireplace and a retractable awning. Oh, and let's not forget the 32 taps and private bar. Book it for your next party or company event. Township Tallahassee, 619 Woodward Avenue in Collegetown.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in Collegetown. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split one order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday Collegetown deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
I'm Michael Blank, attorney with the law office of Jose Fernandez. If you've been in an accident, I know this can be a scary and confusing time. Our firm specializes in handling all types of accident and injury cases. Let us guide you through the process and get you the compensation you deserve. Call 855-HOSE-305 to make an appointment for your free consultation today. If you can't come to us, we can come to you, day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, the law office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid unless you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. Se habla español. JRFinjury.com.
Did you know that 42% of parents lose sleep worrying about college costs? We have a plan for that. For 30 years, Florida Prepaid has helped more than 1 million families like yours save for college. No wonder it's the largest and most successful prepaid plan in the country. Prepaid open enrollment is happening now, so take the first step toward college savings for as little as $47 a month. Enroll today at myfloridaprepaid.com, because starting is believing.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Seminoles, it's 2019 and a new football season is amongst us. It's a new day, and we have an opportunity to build this program back to where it belongs, together. Every day we get one step faster, one rep stronger. The journey to the top includes you. We are one tribe together, and we remain unconquered. We need you in Doak Campbell Stadium this fall, and that begins by getting season tickets now. Visit us online at Seminoles.com or call 1-888-FSU-NOLE and get ready to hear
Touchdown, Florida State!
very soon.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
I had a funny conversation with him the other day. It was his idea, Mike. It was not my idea. Be on the show with me, and for me to then take the posture of he is my pool boy, okay? That was not my idea, was not my construction. I'm not inherently mean, the pool boy. Then I get a call from him one day saying that management wants to go into a different direction with the pool boy. And it was just him. Management didn't want to go. He just didn't want to be called the pool boy. I just found out like a few months ago that was the case, that he was just totally lying to me because I had no idea at the beginning what a liar he was. I knew he was greasy. I knew he was not to be trusted, but I didn't know that he was a serial pathological liar.
How long did it take you to figure that out?
I'd say maybe the second or third negotiations, although I want to say the second or third day.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. If you like a flair for the dramatic, then you certainly will like what's going on in the ACC basketball tournament. The Noles squeezing by Virginia Tech last night, 65-63. So now the fourth-seeded Seminoles will meet up with top-seeded Virginia tonight at 7 o'clock in the first ACC tournament semifinal game. As for the Florida State baseball team, they too are in North Carolina today. The 6th-ranked Seminoles at 13-2 take on NC State, who comes in at 17-0, 3-0 in the conference. For Florida State, they go at 6:30 tonight, 6:30 on Saturday, and then 1 o'clock on Sunday. The Noles won 3 of 4 against NC State last season. Well, Georgia Tech is back in the news as a former Georgia Tech assistant coach is being charged by the NCAA with level 1 violations relating to Atlanta's strip club visit that includes a couple current NBA players, including Jarrett Jack and Wendell Clark Jr.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Oh, that music. And today it's the music for many of you that leads you, I should say, out of town. Spring break beginning. Congratulations. Those of you going on it, doesn't suck. Maybe by the tone of my voice you can hear that I am not going on spring break.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
You know something we didn't mention? Kareem Hunt got 8 games. Surprised that it was only 8?
Man, that Cleveland's got him right. So it's Nick Chubb for 8, which isn't bad, and then you can split the carries for the next 8.
Yeah, and Chubb will be better than Hunt. Chubb's good. That was a good draft.
Chubb is good. Well, yeah, but you can save him now if you're making some kind of push for the playoffs. And this is the other thing, too. I mean, obviously what Kareem Hunt's video doing is well documented. But from a selfish standpoint, which is where we all go about August every year,
yeah.
I'm in a 17-week fantasy league, and now that's a viable draft pick, isn't it?
Oh, man.
It's kind of sad, actually, that you think that way, but it is just it's the nature of how we do things, I guess.
Speaking of Cleveland, over under 10.5 wins.
Under, yeah.
Pretty ridiculous lineup they're putting together there.
They're not sneaking up on anybody, though. So I think that counts for something.
Yeah, there will be no sneaking, that's for sure. They've put together a squad now. I mean, that's a dual threat in the backfield. That's a damn elite wide receiver, arguably the best in the game.
I'm different than most people on that trade. He wasn't going to be around by the time they turn it around, so you jettison him. Now, the price, if you want to talk about the price, that's one thing.
Why'd they just get done re-signing him? They just gave him $20 million.
They didn't know what they were doing. Clearly, they don't know what. Yeah,
they don't know what they're doing at all.
If you're rebuilding, though, he's not going to be.
You just drafted Saquon Barkley. You're a quarterback away from being good. The problem they have is Eli Manning. He's terrible. He's simply terrible.
Well, he's going to be there for one more year, and then you got Haskins, I'm assuming, after that for the next 2 or 3 after that.
I would argue that Odell would be there to help Haskins. Along with Saquon Barkley, I think you can make a case. That's why it was crazy. You've got their ownership coming out when they were asked about re-signing him, saying, well, we didn't re-sign him to trade him. 13 days later, they traded him. 13 days.
So one thing I will say, and I know this is very Joe Public of me, probably I sound like Will Kane, and I hate that, but name me the last team that won a Super Bowl with a headache wide receiver. It's been a long damn time. And Odell, for all of they're going to go through some growing pains this year. They're probably like, the hell with it. It really, I mean, at every turn.
Well, I certainly would like to know what happened. I mean, if you talk to Giants fans, they'll tell you from what all they read that the players like Odell, the players in the locker room like him. So that's different than, say, D-Jax, where in Tampa, the players hated him. And really, he's been hated everywhere he's ever been. So that he is a consistent problem, whereas the Giants players don't feel like Odell was. Now, his theatrics on the sideline make him, a clown.
Well, there may be an alleged lady of the night with alleged cocaine. And I mean, there's just, and then you've got.
It's truly stunning if it's a lady of the night. But, I mean, it's, anyhow, that said.
I think he was out of the country, allegedly. I don't know. I'm just saying, man, if you're going to be rebuilding and you're going through a lot of hard times before coming out on the other side, is he really somebody you want riding with you shotgun for all that? No, I don't think so.
I just don't know that it's big a rebuild. You and I would have a disagreement on that. I think that if you would have made a decision to tell Eli Manning to have a good day 2 years ago, we could already be started in this process. What are we doing here?
That's in the past. I agree with you there.
He can't play. They just gave him $17 million. What are we doing? Let's go.
He's got a victory tour. I mean, the Landon Collins thing tells you all you need to know about where their head was at before they traded Odell.
Well, that too was stupid. I mean, now listen, he's basically a linebacker, so I don't know, maybe, but draft your quarterback, let your young quarterback have some weapons. That's not a bad combination to have in Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham Jr. Man, that's a good deal.
But if it goes bad in Cleveland, it's going to go really bad really quick because Landry's a headache as well. So you got two. I mean, and Callaway is a potential problem off the field.
He's
he already was before. No, but then he's, it was the Florida case where they hired their own booster to preside over him.
Yeah.
And Baker can run hot, too. So that's either going to go really, really well, and there's going to be swagger for years, and this will be a team that's remembered. Or if it goes any kind of bad, then they're going to be like the Steelers were this year. They're going to be the back page team.
At the end of the day, as we sign off here, and coming up next, our man Rory Schrock bringing it to you. It's Rattler Review, and it's a great show, and you should listen to it. And after that, it's the ACC tournament. One thing I should note here, that it's kind of funny to me that the loser of the offseason, it's not the Bucs, it's kind of the Giants, but it's really the Steelers. I mean, goodness gracious. Imagine being a Steelers fan. What in the world is going on with my organization? I had the best running back in the league and the best receiver in the league, and they're both gone. For what? What do we get?
They couldn't win a Super Bowl with those guys. That was crazy.
But at least they won a lot of games.
Yeah.
I mean, they went to the playoffs. They were consistently a contender.
Yeah, they got screwed the one year, and it's not like they got screwed. Denver was just better defensively. But that year, Ben was in it. And that's the hard part, is when is Ben in it? And he was. Because remember, they got to the playoffs with a huge win over Denver. And then they got to the postseason, and it was just too much.
Yeah, Broncos defense was good.
That Broncos defense, I mean, it was good enough to carry the Sheriff.
One-armed Sheriff out there winning a championship. All right, guys, enjoy the weekend. We will, as I said, be with you next week. I may take a day here or there.
So there is a note real quick on the ACC tournament tonight, 6:30. Whether we win or we lose, the championship game coverage starts tomorrow at 8. But then if you're driving around on Sunday, the Selection Sunday show from Westwood 1 is right here.
Well done.
Starting at 6 p.m. So if you want to hear what seed we are and you're stuck in the car, well, tune into us. You're covered.
Like it. Good work out of you, Tom Wayne. Good work, Matthew, as always. And you guys have a great weekend. Go Noles. We'll talk to you on Monday.